Yeah, we have a question
Okay.
from one of the participants about postponement. They're requesting a full board.
Why don't you, on this matter,
No, on the.
let me look at the rules and you guys can just proceed with this first matter up and I'll go through it.
Okay. All right. The first application for development standards variance DSV 2025 21 filed by Jonas T. Shelter at approximately 1714 East, 450 South. He is wanting to build a residence that would be 550 feet from a neighboring intensive livestock operation. Per county land use ordinance, section 2-16-4-C, a neighboring residence must be 1,320 feet from neighboring intensive livestock operations. The land is located in section 26 of Monroe Township. Mr. Shelter, would you like to come up and explain further your request? We have a microphone also. Well, see, that's why I stumbled. Your actual name is Shetler.
Yeah. Use this.
Yeah. Just bend it down, maybe. There you go.
So walk through the questions. Do you need, like, what else do you need from?
Just tell the board what your desires are.
Well, I would like to build a house there and a barn and just a place to live is all I need. So what I was wondering if I'd be able to build there or not.
Have you checked for your septic? There's a ground perk there.
I have not. I was gonna get my variance first and then I was gonna get with that and see if I can see about that.
They ask me that question a lot. It's always like the horse or the cart first on this one because you never know. So I always suggest do this first and soil second.
Okay.
So it could be my fault.
Oh, you're good.
Do you know the owner of the confined feeding operation?
Yeah, he's my brother. Actually, yeah. And as far as I know, he's okay with me building there too. I mean, actually, I think when that barn was built, they didn't plan it to have an intensive livestock operation. They built it small enough so it isn't. But I think that stuff has changed that now. I think it falls under that, under the intensive livestock.
What's he housing?
He's calves.
Calves?
He's got calves.
Do you know how many head?
I think it's for 180. I think 180 is what he usually holds.
Any other questions from the board? Any calls or letters, Megan? Any comments from the audience? Okay, we'll go into finding of facts. We have 5 questions for the board. Question number 1, approval will or will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because?
Will not. He'll be building just a residence with a small barn.
Great. Question number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the development standards variance will or will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because?
Will not. He'll be able to, the neighbor will still be able to have his calf barn operating.
Agreed. Question number 3, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will or will not result in practical difficulties in the use of the property.
It will if the variance is not granted. It's an unbuildable property.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Question number 4, if granted, the board prescribes the following conditions, if any.
as long as the septic works.
I agree.
Make the motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Request granted.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Legal, am I to continue?
Well, which matter did you have the question regarding? The very last one? I have an answer, but we could wait till then or whenever you want.
Well, let's hear your answer.
The answer is that if they don't ask for it in writing more than 7 days before, then Mark cannot grant it. But that at the hearing, if it's less than 7 days, they can ask for it. It's in the board's discretion. But the reasons for granting such continuance may include, but are not limited to, allowing additional evidence, providing an opportunity for the applicant and remonstrators to meet, or allowing for the presence of additional persons of interest. Persons of interest are the applicant and people that have been given notice or that have standing to show up at the hearing. A board member is not a person of interest. So, I mean, you have 90% of the board here. It is in your discretion. You can do it if you wish. And maybe, I mean, you could do it, you could take the petitions out of order and decide on that issue. And any member could request a continuance for good cause. But the way you gauged it to me, the request came from someone that's probably in the audience.
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, it's up to the board's discretion under those, and the reasons for granting the continuance would be additional evidence, opportunity for others to appear, or opportunity for the applicant and remonstrators to meet.
Okay. Feelings from the board?
I think what we ought to do is, if you want to consider this now, somebody ought to make a motion to take that last petition out of order for the sole purpose of the board deciding whether or not to grant a continuance. It's not appropriate to take evidence as to why or why not a petition should be continued, because you're going to get into the substantive issues regarding the petition. Right? I presume it was an opponent that asked, or was it the petitioner? Petitioner. So those are the same reasons. He didn't do it 7 days before the hearing, so we go to this default mechanism in that the reasons for granting such a continuance, again, are submission of additional evidence, providing an opportunity for applicant and remonstrators to meet, or allowing for the presence of additional persons of interest. So for example, if a petitioner had an expert on traffic showing up and they couldn't make it, that would be a person of interest. A board member is not a person of interest. You're the trier of fact.
We don't have official grounds to grant the request.
I think maybe what we ought, I'm sorry to keep interrupting. We ought to have a member make a motion that we discuss this issue of a continuance of the last item out of order. So you could do it now if you wish. And if that's seconded and approved, then you may discuss it. We're not generally big sticklers on Robert's Rules of Order, but when you have a published agenda that was subject to public notice, I think you've got to be a little more strict on things like that.
Understood.
So if there's a member that wants to even discuss this possibility of a continuance prior to the item actually coming up on the agenda, that member should make a motion to do that now. And if there's a second, you vote on it. And if you don't hear anything, let it ride.
We're letting it ride.
All right. I'll mark this place in the rules.
The second application for development standards variance DSV 2025 22 filed by Benjamin R. and Mary S. Gerard at 2424 East, 1000 South. They are wanting to build a residence that would be 900 feet from a neighboring intensive livestock operation. For County Land Use Ordinance, Section 2-16-4-C, a residence must be 1,320 feet from neighboring intensive livestock operations. The land is located in Section 25 of Wabash Township. Will the Gerards come forward and explain further their request?
Good evening. We'd like to build a house for our daughter back there. She's the youngest daughter and we want to sell her part of the property. And our wishes would be to build a house in a barn. I know we're about 900 feet from my son's hog barn. But I guess our question, if you would allow us to do that.
Comments from the board?
Just a quick question, is there access?
They'll buy a right of way off County Road 1000. Clear to the back. It's about 1,500 feet off of the road. And we had a soil test done and we had a good soil test.
Any other questions? Calls or letters?
No calls or letters?
Comments from the audience? Finding of facts. Question number one, approval will or will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because?
Will not. They'll be building a house in a barn.
All agree? Question number two, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the development standards variance will or will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because?
Will not, because it'll, farm next to them will still be able to operate.
All agree? Question number three, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will or will not result in practical difficulties in the use of the property?
I would say will, in the respect that they've already got soil tests done and they found a place and they have an avenue for access.
All agree?
Agree.
Question number four, if granted, the board prescribes the following conditions, if any.
Make a motion to accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
Request granted.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
On to the next, an application for development standards variance DSV 2025-23 filed by Wes and Tiffany Lamons at 7667 North, 700 West. They're wanting to construct a building that would be 4 feet from the east property line. Per county land use ordinance, section 2-11-5-B, a structure must be 20 feet from the property line. The land is located in section 28 of Preble Township. Can I read them both now, or do I have to do them individually?
You can read them both, you vote separately.
Okay. Along with that, we have an application for development standards variance DSV 202524 filed by Wes and Tiffany Lamons at 7667 North, 700 West. They are wanting to construct a building that would be 2.61 feet from the north property line and 4.14 feet from the east property line. Per county land use ordinance, section 2-11-5-B, a structure must be 20 feet from the property line. The land is located in section 28 of Preble Township. Will the Lamons come forward and explain this situation?
When we go first, sorry.
Excuse me, sir. Hate to interrupt. Can these people leave? Absolutely.
That's all they want.
Yeah. Released on good behavior.
So
You
we
can
talked about,
talk about both of them at the same time. You can present evidence
okay,
regarding both. But if they're so completely different and you want to handle them
we'll just do
separately.
them separate if that's okay.
Okay,
If you're all right with it.
yeah,
I'm just gonna put these in the middle. These are kind of like pictures I just took today to kind of give you guys an idea. I know that whenever we put this together, it's not like scaled, you know, wherever it's at. It's more so,
More behind the barn or like north?
if, let me see this real quick. Like if you guys are kind of looking at this is my house, right? So,
Is that the back of your house?
yeah, it's the back of my house. So it would more or less from my edge of my house coming to the south, it would be 92 feet is actually what it would be from my south property line to the edge of my request of the 40-foot to this line more or less. I guess if I'm saying that right. I'm trying to look at it backwards.
92
Yes,
from the-
okay. So it'd be,
Is it 92 from the south property line?
yeah, it would be 92 from the south property line. And then you would, I guess, add another. But
Well,
Mark,
and honestly, it's
it
just
probably
the-
didn't
It's
matter.
just the east line that matters, so.
Okay, if that doesn't
But-
matter,
but
I'm just saying it.
How close were you to the south?
Well, at 92 feet to that edge. Yeah,
So it should be north of
It should
the
be way
septic.
north.
Yep.
yeah. It was just,
Yeah.
I think it was a quick deal, but
Okay,
I'm just saying so you guys kind
92
of
feet.
understand my request.
No,
So,
no, good. 92 from there.
yeah, and then it would be 40 foot to the north. And I guess with the, am I okay to talk? I don't know if you guys are. So with the health department, I think it's supposed to be roughly 10 foot off of the leach bed or septic system or whatever. So that's where if I could, I guess what I'm requesting is the 4 foot off my east or off the east side property line. I'm trying to get that so that I know that I'm far enough off of my leach bed, therefore, so I'm not obviously building on top of my leach bed or septic system. It would just look, in our opinion, it would look the best appearance wise. We more or less turn this bean stubble into our homestead, so we're trying to make it. I get that everybody has their personal preference on everything. We're just trying to make it look homey to us. So as those pictures are, you can kind of see I kind of had a rough drawing, I guess. So one's from it'd be more or less the west looking to the east, and the other one's behind the house east to the west. So
Question I have for you is, can you go 100 feet from your south property line and then go 10 feet off the?
So maybe I'm confused, but I want to make sure I'm listening to you right. From the south property line to your building is 92 feet.
I could be wrong, Mark. It might be
Right.
a little bit.
The
Closer.
reason I'm asking is I just did that,
Am I?
on here. And as you can see, you are on your leach bed, covering it. When I put that blue building on there, that's 92 from the south line.
Okay, so maybe
I don't see how it can go there because of the
No.
leach field.
No, I get what you're saying. So maybe it is further down because we have the stakes kind of marked. So maybe we are too far north, and maybe I guess what Megan kind of put on there is maybe closer to scale. But I do know that I'm just trying to get that thing as far north as I can without putting it in the corner. Is kind of my main
What do you plan on
objective.
doing with this building?
It's just a shed to put my mower and golf cart, whatever in. Because we have a 3-car garage, but we like to park our cars. So that's kind of like we wanted to have.
Is there a reason why you can't move that north and then be able to shift it 10 foot off the property line instead of doing 4?
I guess we really didn't want it behind the house because you don't have much room to maneuver in through there. From the property line to the back of the house.
Close to the LP tank too, and that other
No,
building.
that-
Oh, that's
That thing's
moved.
moved.
That was a temporary structure, all that. That was a mobile home in there.
That house is gone too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that's where we had to stay until we got this house built.
I see.
So to get it away from the septic, that's where I have to place it, which is behind the house. So
Okay.
I guess I don't know where you want it.
Okay, so if
placed.
you went to the south, you're saying I would be
If it
more
go- if it
so,
go- If it goes south, it pretty much is where the yellow is, because that's also the 10 feet away from that, because the fingers you see aren't yet the outside tile, the perimeter.
right?
That doesn't show up in green. So you gotta be 10 feet from the perimeter tile. So I think we kind of drew this guessing that we were 10 feet from
Okay.
that.
Because I remember the flags are still, well, the flags are still there because when we moved dirt, because we just dug a pond, so now we still got to make a mark. So when we measured it, we were, like I said, we were just trying to get as far off of the leach bed as we could and as close as the property line. That's where our number kind of come close. But like how Mark has it right now, where I guess where the yellow's at, if we can move it to the north a little bit, I guess that would kind of be
Well, but then
beneficial.
Just gotta find your perimeter.
Correct. Yeah. Well, as far north as we can go, obviously, without being on it. So that's,
How far off of what you see there, those fingers, is this perimeter that you're describing?
Normally the perimeter tile, I believe, is 10 feet off of that.
So basically 12 from the
Five-
finger
five-
or
It's either 5 or 10 feet off of
And
that
is there
last.
A reg on how far the building has to be from the perimeter
10.
tile? Another 10?
That's the 10 we're talking about.
and I think when Uric did it, maybe it wasn't 100% 10 foot, but when we measured it out, the perimeter was about 5.5 feet. So, I mean, we have I guess or he has probably the drawing and layout of it, but
So he needs 20 feet from what you're drawing. And he's got 12?
But again, it needs to be officially found the perimeter and then 10 feet from the. But it doesn't move you north, I'll just tell you that, because north is just making it worse.
because
Unless
it's at
you're
an
way
angle.
north, behind the house.
Okay, so maybe can we just suggest or go back on the request of what we're requesting to be off the east line, but we want to just more or less make sure we're off the perimeter 10 foot.
Once you get whatever they're gonna do with the east line, then you can adjust the.
Okay, I just didn't
you
know
can
if this
adjust
all
the
had to be
ordinance.
brought up at the same, I didn't know. And this would be a pad, this would not be post and ground or nothing. So whether that matters or not, at least everybody kind of knows.
So there's no variance being asked on the south property line, correct?
Correct.
Because he's at least 20. Okay.
This would just be,
Is that correct?
yeah, just be the east.
Up to date.
And all that's to the west is pond now? It's not in this picture, but
It should be on maybe one of the pictures I kind of give
that's the
some.
reason you're not going the
Oh,
other
where
way.
that garage is right now, the old, kind of right there, that's all a pond, the whole thing there. So that's why we're not putting anything, I guess, out there. There you go. We just know if we put like any type of a drive, we can't, it's hard to get, we just would rather not have it behind the house is all.
Who owns the farm?
Donnie Brown. He actually has the all around me, us.
I'd like to see him 10 foot.
And how critical is that for the 10 foot off the perimeter drain? I mean, what if I'm 9 foot? You know, I'm just, I know a code's a code, rule's a rule. I'm just trying to,
That'll be 100% on the health department as far
Okay.
as that.
Okay.
Whatever
gotcha,
they let you do.
got it.
So is the red triangle trying to be the pond?
That's the
Yeah.
pond.
So there's a lot of other land there. You're not
I guess if
considering
you,
any of that land?
say it again.
I mean, everything that's to the left, north, you've got a lot of land here, right?
Yeah, it's about the only yard that I guess I have for a side yard for the kids to do much of anything, but I guess in that picture, you can kind of see the one that I guess handed you guys. It's all dirt, obviously, at the moment, but that, I guess looking at the area view this way, it might look like a lot, but it's really not a lot of area. We're just trying to make it so that everything's set off the road and it looks I mean, everything's in this picture, like, is less than 2 years old. I mean, everything's just, I mean, we're trying to just make it all coordinate and look nice.
In front of another building.
Like, that's why we put the
I want
pond,
it to look like a storage unit should.
right?
I went past your house today. It looks nice.
Thank you.
You guys done a lot.
We just need some grass,
That's right.
but
And we need to get rid of dirt. They on it.
so I guess at the end of the day, it's your guys' obviously call. That's why we're here. So,
Typically, as a board, we don't go any closer than 50%. Unless it's in a residential area, we want less.
Maybe talk to Donnie about it.
he's here. I did say something to him. Actually, it's regarding the other matter, I guess. I don't know that it's necessarily this one, but
The other issue is, I mean, he's asking for a request here. I think you can grant it, but building code says no more than 5. No less than 5.
So can you move it foot closer to the leach bed?
We're supposed,
Like, what's the
Hang on.
minute?
our setbacks are 10 in town and 20 in the country. Building code for the state of Indiana is 5. So when Fort Wayne's putting together a home addition and they want to shove as many in as possible, the buildings are 10 feet apart and when you're 10 feet apart, you don't have to do anything special with fire ratings. Get less than 10 feet, so that's why they have it. This is the middle of the country, so we know there's not going to be another building that's right beside it. That'd be insane, but that's in the code. FYI.
Just with being 4 foot, you won't be able to get a lawnmower really behind it. You won't.
I mean, we've got a push mower, obviously, but yeah, I'm just trying,
That's what-
if it needs to be 5 foot, we can make it work. I'm just saying in general, to kind of lay it out to make sure everybody's, like the health department and whatnot, just so that we had that little bit of leeway. I just didn't want to, we're trying to go by the rules, obviously, as much as we can. That's why we're here. So we're just trying to see what it is we got to do. If we owned 100 acres, it'd be a little bit different, but being 2 1/4 is kind of tougher.
So what you're saying, Mark, is if we approved it at 4, it's not gonna work anyhow.
I don't see how it can.
So it has to be 5. Is that with the overhang?
We can subserviate that 5.
All you can deal with is what's in the Adams County zoning ordinance. Can't affect the 1 and 2 family building code.
State code doesn't allow us to go less than 5.
So can we request the 5?
How does that work if the request was for 4 initially and that's what's written into the?
If you thought that was something you would approve it with the condition that it be 5 feet.
The last question on the.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the board? Any
So
call?
it's not, you cannot move it in front of the leach field to get your 10 foot.
Well, with the health department stating that they want it's not requested, they just say it's supposed to be 10 foot, I guess. That doesn't mean that I could go up the chain and ask, I guess, more, but I guess both times that I talked to 2 different ladies down there, they more or less told me 10 foot.
So if you brought it to the east in front of the leach field though, west, sorry.
Okay, if I brought it, sorry, what was that?
In front of the leach bed.
If I brought it in front of,
Between your house and your barn that are existing.
What I was saying earlier, you got plenty of land there, you just don't want to use it for that.
I guess they kind of just,
I think they're asking for that.
Fingers.
I think they're asking for that is all I'm, yeah.
Right.
Stay away from the fingers. I'm just trying to show you what they're.
Yeah.
I guess we're just trying to keep everything behind the house, but not actually behind physically. But I guess if we knew now what we knew then, or vice versa, it'd be different, but. It kind of blocks,
In front of there, it goes in front of the other barn. Like it'll be like in front of the other barn that's already there. Like it's gonna look offset.
like, cause that long one that's on the south side there faces the north. So it more or less kind of cuts off of you seeing
Would you
it.
consider adding on to that the existing structure to house your mowers and golf cart?
We're maxed out on that. Can't go any,
Go
as in
either way.
east or west.
I assume it's not green, but I assume these fingers are the same length all the way through. So
Right.
That's one thing you
The
don't see.
fingers are up to that building.
So you have to kind of imagine that's a rectangle. You know, it doesn't look like that.
But on further west, there's
Right.
more building. If you,
I think that gets me too close to the road.
Yes. That's me 90 feet off the road.
And plus, why we want a shed all the way out by the road. But
but if it was an L shaped, it came off that building on the west end.
it's kind of like a chick, like if we just put, consider, they're pigeons, but let's just say you have a chicken house, you don't, no matter what, you're gonna get all that dust into where your
I didn't know-
mowers.
I didn't know what you had in
No,
it.
that's fine. I'm just kind of,
It's a elaborate pigeon coop.
So my question to you, next one would be is, how about north side and then your new building would have driveway access?
There's already buildings.
well, that's our next issue that we're gonna hit now, right? But
Get into one building?
yeah. I mean, like where I guess when I put it in the proposal, the 4 foot, I didn't realize, kind of like Mark had mentioned, that it's 5 foot you're supposed to or whatnot. I guess at the end of the day, if you guys wouldn't be in agreement, I mean, for me to get it to 5 foot, is this a possibility, I guess? So that we're kind of back out of the way where we would like to be.
I'd still like to see a 10 foot, so you get a mower line.
So 10 foot is technically, well, like I mean, most mowers are what, 61, 72 inch, something like that.
And that'd be half of the ordinance.
Sure.
You cut it in half.
I guess, like I said, the issue is those fingers. I mean, if I'd have known, I'd had them, thrown up further, but
For me, I guess at this point, do you want us to send it to finding of facts, or would you ask for a continuance, or so that you can revise your plan?
I kind of pushed this out 2 months already, so we're kind of like stacking them deep, selling them cheap in the backyard right now. So we're trying to get stuff so we don't look like hillbillies with all of our stuff sitting outside. I mean, I'm not trying to be crappy, but I'm just saying I'd rather try to figure out I thought we had a game plan, but
So we can't just do the 5 feet? We have to do a new one because it's not 4, it's 5?
I guess what I'm saying is that the ordinance is 20 feet.
sure.
We'd be cutting it in half.
What we're actually supposed to vote on is you propose 4 foot.
Correct.
So if we,
Continuance of what it's supposed to be? Like, can we do it like contingent to that or no?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
Like he was saying, we could do, since it's not the 4 foot, whatever you guys agree on, if it's the 10 foot. He said you can agree on it and do the contingents to, we have to do the 10 foot that you're requesting.
It's not really an agreement as though this is a negotiation. The board votes on what you submitted, and they could make a condition that that have to maintain a 5 foot or a 10 foot or whatever. So, you know, that's up really to the board. What we don't like to get into is, well, would you accept this? Well, would you accept this? Well, would you submit a plan with what you want?
And that's what we did. We just didn't know that whenever we put it, that's
It's a big ask is what you're
sure.
probably sensing here, right?
Us as a normal human beings, we didn't know, I guess, what a big ask would be whenever we kind of drive around and see everybody's kind of building on property lines and whatnot. So we really didn't know code wise or what we can get for a variance and whatnot. So that's why we're here to ask to see what we can do. We just didn't want to put it in the middle of our yard is all. As we all are obligated to our own lifestyle and setting of where we want to put certain things, we just got to go through the motions. So
Just throw this out there. I know they've been asking you quite a few questions. Does it have to be 20 feet wide, the building?
like the 20 by 40, does it have to be that?
Does it have to be full 20?
Well, I kind of put the cart in front of the horse because I already got the trusses ordered, but it's, I don't want to say yes or no, but so I didn't really answer, but I kind of, you get what I'm saying? And that's not, I mean, we don't have neighbors kind of like stacked on top of us. We're just, I don't know. I really don't know what else to say other than it's kind of where we were at.
I guess
We'll get
that comes.
Any
up,
other
yeah.
questions from the board? Any calls or letters?
No calls or letters?
Comments from the audience? Come up and state your name and address.
Don and Linda Brown, I'm at 1616 West, 550 North. We own the surrounding land all around this property. So I didn't get to see what you presented early. I'm somewhat confused what you were explaining from back there. Can I see them photos? And explain to me what you explained to them, that same scenario.
Where that yellow square rectangle is. I'm trying to get as close to that property line as possible. Obviously, I'm requesting the 4 foot.
So you're looking at
And that
the west line.
east line, yeah. So, and that's to cover me from not building over the top of the leach bed. So more or less, if you're looking from the road view, it'd be like right here because the finger system runs, as you can see. So it'd kind of be,
Can you run it parallel with those fingers? How far away does it have to be from the septic?
10 foot from the septic.
it's going to be
10 foot From the
close.
septic and 5 foot from me. You know, I guess I'm gonna look at it like this, and you're well aware of this. Miner's 40 foot wide. I have hinges and mechanism that hangs out past my row unit my first row that I planted. So there's always a factor there that you're working, trying to stay away from any structure that's close to the property line, whether it be a building or trees or a fence line, fence posts and telephone boxes, all of that. It just causes one more obstacle that person has to deal with.
That's why I don't like to see closer than 10 feet.
I guess the thing is, we've never had a conflict. Obviously, there's nothing there. It's just one of them things where we're limited to where we can put certain things to make it look reasonable. And how he is setting that up right now, I still think we're going to have an issue with the southeast corner, no matter what. If that's, I mean, I'm fine with it angling to the northwest. I'm just saying, sorry,
It
the
doesn't-
northeast
I'm
corner.
trying to make it fit.
Sure.
So that's, the question that was just asked, that's 10 feet off from the top corner, and that's 20 feet off the bottom line. And it's obviously against the leach field, which doesn't work. So that size of building doesn't fit in there at this point.
So here's a good example, because I try and stay away from his property line, not to cause problems for him. Because you see a large patch of weeds that we obviously stayed away, now we got a patch of weeds. I've already taken out the survey stake on that northeast corner. A wooden slat, so survey stake. Not intentionally, it was an accident. You replaced it though, haven't you?
No, I just left it down. Wait, the north what?
Northeast.
No.
That right there is 10 and 20. The yellow building.
So what you're saying, Don, is you'd like to see 10 feet also?
I'm okay with 5 on this structure, on this, these are 2 different separate.
Right.
So if you guys want to do 5, I'm okay with 5. We'll deal with the other one next.
Any other comments from the audience, for or against? All right, finding of facts. Question number 1, approval will or will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because?
It will, he's building too close to the property line.
I'll agree.
Agree. Question number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the development standards variance will or will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because?
It will, it'll make it very difficult to farm at 4 foot.
Agree.
Right. Question number 3, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will or will not result in practical difficulties in the use of the property.
I'd say will, based on what they've had planned.
Agree? Question number 4, if granted, the board prescribes the following conditions.
Don't have any.
Sounds like they have denied the request.
We should probably still have a motion to approve or deny based on the findings discussed by the board and then a vote.
Make a motion to deny based on the finding of facts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed, aye.
It was an aye for me on the first one.
Okay.
Just
Request denied.
says, I was gonna say opposed based on Don's comment. He would-
So can I ask you guys, can I put a fence on the property line?
So you voted to approve the motion to deny.
No. I was opposite of that.
Okay.
So it's a 2-1 at this moment.
I just want to make sure we're clear. There was a motion to deny the variance to go down to 4 feet. It was seconded, and there were 2 of the 4 votes that agreed that it should be denied to go down to 4 feet. And then you voted how?
Let me correct myself. Because we failed the first 2, we cannot.
Correct.
So it's 3-0.
So those are the 3 votes to deny.
So is there a fence that can be put on property lines in the county?
Yes.
So if those are put up, how does the farming get done that way? Is kind of my question on that. I'm 5 foot off the property or on the line. It's gonna be taken out regardless.
It's just apples and oranges. That's
Okay. Sometimes you gotta have the right last name, so I'm trying to figure this out, is all I'm trying to
Okay,
figure
so
out.
we're gonna go on to the next development standard.
I mean, I might as well just keep pictures in here, but, okay.
You ready to explain the next
Yeah.
request?
Sorry, everybody. So this building was put up as a temporary structure. It's not on a pad. It's not in the ground. It's literally on blocks, concrete blocks. It looks like, obviously, it's a permanent structure, and nobody's going to want to move this structure. But whenever I went in probably 8 months ago to talk to Sarah Beth and Megan, quote me on this. I don't know whether it's Megan or Sarah Beth and Mark.
No.
I'll just stop talking. I guess it doesn't matter. So, moral of the story is this was put up with no permit because it was a temporary structure that even Bill Wimhoff says it doesn't, you don't need a building permit for a temporary structure as long as there's no post or pad in the ground. Therefore, I went up and to get technically a permit, and this is where the conversation come up to, I don't need a building permit for a temporary structure. So this got put up, obviously, as you guys can see, and we don't have, like you guys can see on the GIS, I don't have the exact line, but I did string a line, measuring off. But I guess at this point, I didn't know that we need to be X amount of feet, even if it's a temporary structure. I thought it was permanent only. Therefore, that's what I was told in building and planning. It's going to be my word against theirs, etc. So he said, she said, but why would I have not done it correctly if that's, so anyway, I'm asking now if I can keep that building there because it's not like a little doghouse. It's, as you've seen in the picture, it's bigger than
Are you
that.
asking to
Leave it there.
take a temporary structure and make it a permanent structure?
Well, leaving it there, would that be that? Would be what you're saying?
That sounds
Yes.
like a permanent structure.
Yes.
And you build it there as a temporary?
So the word temporary, what he's using is because it's not on foundation. So you could put, just like you can buy a building from a shed company that's on skids anywhere local here and have it delivered. The word temporary isn't anything as far as the building is concerned. It's just about location.
I know that we've passed them in housing additions before as far as being.
Right.
close to
So
communities.
a location permit is always required, even if something was 8 by 10. Building permits are then required when it's over 200 square feet. I'm not sure how big this building is.
How many square
12
feet
by
is
30,
this?
so it's beyond that.
Yeah.
So it would have required both. But when they're on skids, it still requires a location permit, which would have solved this problem.
And the reason it's in that spot is more or less you can see my driveway. So it's in the back left corner to make it obviously look nicer. And if I have that all the way 20 foot, I guess, off my property line, it'll be sitting there in my driveway, theoretically.
Puts us in a tough spot.
Yeah, I mean,
Us too, when you go in and ask
Is that
questions.
indeed 4 foot off the property line?
sorry, what?
Is that indeed 4 foot off?
It's the 4.14. Is it, because I had a survey redone to know exactly what corner was what, yeah.
2.6 on one side and
Yeah.
4.1 on the other.
That's kind of why I was, yeah. That's why I was, I guess, asking about the fence part. I mean, if I had a fence around it. I guess at this point, there's now power ran to it. And that LP tank that you referred to earlier was moved, sitting behind this.
How long has it been there?
No, maybe three months now. So I don't know if you've seen those pictures. So obviously I had all landscaped and whatnot around it. So it's not like a regular shed that they drop. I mean, it can be, but I'm saying it's, I guess, a little bit more than that.
What is the dimensions of the building?
12 by 30. Roof would be obviously bigger than that, but base is that.
So if this request doesn't get granted, does the building have to be relocated? Any other questions from the board?
I don't want to drag it out, but just to get back to the order of events here, at a certain point, you realized that there was setback requirements, right?
God's honest truth, temporary, didn't matter. I mean, even I wish Bill Wimhoff was here. I know he's been a surveyor for the county for a long time. He got on, I mean, he's a little bit bigger guy. He even laid down and he says, there's no structure in the ground here. I've never heard of anything needing to have a permit for a temporary structure. And I said, well, nowadays they have a location permit as well. And I'm just saying, I mean, I'm not gonna know obviously if he's does this every day. So
Yes, there's really every day.
and I'm in the office.
And my girls. And I know what you guys said you asked. I know what answer you say you got. But if you came in and said, we're gonna put a building on skids that size, that would have been a building and a location permit all day, every day. And so, and I've talked to them and they're like, no, we did not say that. So like you said, he said, she said, but that's a permit. If somebody comes in for an 8x12 on skids that's being dropped, it would be at least a location permit for this whole problem that we're talking about today. So there's no way, if the right question was asked, that we would have gave the wrong answer. So I don't know how it was asked. I don't know what was asked. I was not there. All I know is we were notified that that structure was there, which is when I called you, which started this motion. We were informed about this building being built and up, and I drove past and then I made contact. That's all I know. We don't record anything in the office. I couldn't tell you anything about the conversation. I just know how we deal with buildings this size, and that would never come out of my everybody in our office has been there for years. This is not new to any of
Put up a
us.
$400,000 home. I'm not just going to do something just for myself, just without going through the motions. I didn't do it out of spite, didn't do it out of anything. I literally, like he said, she said, whatever it is. I went through the motions. Those motions,
Obviously was misunderstood on the question.
I
Is
guess.
there any way you could get two pieces of equipment underneath it, move it forward?
I mean, anything can be, I mean, my house can be moved, so I guess I could figure it out, if I have to figure it out, I have to figure it out.
A lot's been put into it already.
It looks nice.
Just sorry, real quick for my clarification. The information that you got regarding the temporary structure, are you suggesting that was from Bill or from building department?
Nothing was from Bill. It was from the building department. And to be honest, I've been pulled through the ringer this whole building process. Like everything else I've done has been literally by the book. The pond is 80 foot off the property. My neighbor's 28. My building, that long building on the south side, is 90 foot. my neighbor just built something, they're 32 feet. I'm just saying in general. I'm not trying to drag this out, but if this is your guys' place, you would probably want the same situation done. I mean, we paid for the hearing. So,
Any other questions? Calls and letters? Comments from the audience?
Can you buy additional land?
Name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Cynthia Rose, ROSE, 3380 West Rockland North, Decatur, 46733. Are you able to buy additional land around your current land? I mean, that would settle a lot of these issues.
that would be on Donnie Brown to sell it.
20 acres at 20,000 is 2.4 million.
And all we're asking is for what, 20 feet?
Could he buy like a couple of acres? No, that's not an option. Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
We tried to buy it already.
Any other questions? Finding of facts. Question number 1. Approval will or will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because.
Go with the Doug.
It's your turn, Aaron.
Unfortunately, I would say will, only because of the comments earlier about farm equipment and the distance from the property line.
Existing codes, I mean. All agree?
Agree.
I agreed.
Question number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the development standards variance will or will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because.
It will make it very difficult to farm.
All agree? Question number 3, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will or will not result in practical difficulties in the use of the property.
I would say will, because the structure already exists, and that presents a problem.
But if it makes it difficult for him to farm, isn't it difficult for me to mow my property? I mean, without hitting his stuff. I'm just saying it's both ways. Can't just be one-sided, you know what I'm saying? No, I know, but before this gets closed completely, I'm just explaining, like, it's kind of a both-way deal.
Plant right on the property line. I mean, we're on our side, like, there's equipment on our property, like, plant in a little bit, like, don't go right on your property line. And help with the overhang of the machine.
But the code says 20 feet. And you're 2.5 feet.
Right.
I think we
It's
get
very
with that.
Sizable infringement.
Yeah.
On the code.
Which
That's
is
what you're up
understandable for sure. But I think if that's the case, then why are we talking about the tractor?
I mean,
You know
there's
what I mean? That's-
leniency, we granted leniency, that's what appeals are all about.
Sure.
Leniency from a code, but as Aaron said, 10 feet seems a little more agreeable and reasonable, but 2.5 feet or 2.61 is not even close to 10. That's what you're running up against here.
So if I resubmit at 10 feet, we have to go through the motions again.
We've had, I hate to cut people off, especially when the people of goodwill that want to try and do things right, but things have happened. But we've had an opportunity for a presentation. We've had an opportunity for people to come up with questions, opposition, or support. And now this is your time. And we have other items on the agenda tonight that cannot go like this because we have to create a proper record, okay? So let's follow proper procedure. The comments are over.
Motion that we deny
Thank you.
the application based on the finding of facts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Request denied.
So what do I do with the building?
The building's currently in violation, so you're gonna have to come and talk to Mark about moving it to a position where it's not in violation. Now, I know how Mark operates. He always gives a person time to try and get things corrected. But if it doesn't, then we'll have to pursue it as a violation.
Right now, that's 20 feet. The next application, do I read it? I mean, how does this work? The applicant had a family emergency and is not here.
Oh, okay. Then
Make a
I
motion
would
to
read that, let the board know it. Well, look, enter it into the record that the next item is such and such. Then read the request, and then you'd have to have a motion from a board member to continue.
An application for development standard variance, DSV 2025 filed by John Genth at 2501 East 100 South. They're wanting to move a property line that would be 5 feet from an existing building. Per county land use ordinance, section 2-11-5-B, a property line must be 20 feet from the structures. The land is located in section 01 of Monroe Township. The applicant had a family emergency and cannot be at the meeting.
Make a motion to table it for next month.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Table. The next one, an application for contingent use CU-2025-26 filed by Fred Lowe of APC Towers at approximately 3612 West, 1200 North. They are wanting to build a communication tower. Per county land use ordinance, section 2-4-2-F, a communications tower requires a permitted contingent use. The land is located in section 01 of Preble Township. Mr. Lowe, if you would come forward. Explain your request.
Hi, my name is Fred Lau. I'm with Chaley Tower Consultants. I'm here representing APC Towers. I'll take you through the background just a little bit, if that's okay. We are proposing a 230-foot guide tower there on the south side of East South County Line Road. The way we get the request is from a carrier who is licensed to transmit wireless signals in this area. Trying to figure this thing out. Get her up a little bit. Okay. So we get a request from the carrier that they need a coverage improvement in an area. And what we will do is my company will come out and take a look at the zoning ordinance and the state ordinance and the federal ordinances and find a property that's likely to fit all those bills. Once we've identified those properties, we'll interview property owners and try to find a property owner that is willing to enter into an agreement to install the tower on the property in question. In this case, we were able to identify a property that was able to accommodate dimensionally the tower. And we also took some care to try to put it into a area that didn't infringe upon existing agriculture and didn't infringe on or in this case was screened by some existing vegetation in the area. This design was put together by our folks, and then we take that to the RF engineers, and they run calculations on whether or not it will remedy the coverage situation that exists in that area. We did submit RF propagation maps, I think that clearly shows the existing problem as it is right now. And then the projected coverage improvement after this platform is installed. We are confident with this one. It does do a good job of being within, the confines of the property and screens the base of the tower very effectively with the existing vegetation. I did mention that we do adhere to the FCC regulations on the tower construction and placement. I know there was a question about the bats and that impact on their habitat. We work with the USFWS and the FCC on those considerations and adhere to all their guidelines during the construction and during the planning.
Questions from the board?
I did do a quick, answered the 5 questions. Do you want me to read my answers as I see them? On the permit questionnaire?
Yeah. Should have.
Is that
It's
okay?
your time.
Okay.
You're welcome to do as you wish.
On the essential or desirable in the public convenience or welfare, the communication facility will provide an antenna platform for additional PCS providers and would potentially eliminate the need for carriers to construct their own antennas or antenna support structures in the future. We do design so that it will accommodate more than just one carrier. In this case, I believe we're designed to accommodate up to 3. The PCS facility will also provide support for emergency services by providing wireless communications to paramedics, firefighters, law enforcement agencies in that area, which if they are utilizing wireless services right now, probably underserved in that vicinity. These services have become established and accepted as an integral part of the nation's communication infrastructure as these services promote public health, safety, comfort, and general welfare. On the second point, if the refusal of this permit would create an undue hardship on the applicant, the location was determined for this site based on specific computerized studies. The technical criteria for establishing cell sites are very exacting as to both the height and location of the communication facility. Based on a computerized engineering study, which takes into account, among other things, the local population density, traffic patterns, and topography, RF engineers have identified the necessary location for this additional PCS site in Adams County. On the note, whether it would conflict with any plan duly adopted by ordinance, not that I'm aware of. The proposed, it's an unmanned communication facility, should not conflict with anything within your ordinances or within your plans and should support continued development. On the 4th point, whether the proposed use will be detrimental to the surrounding area, my answer is the proposed use will not be detrimental to the surrounding area as it won't interfere with the neighboring properties, and there's a minimal impact with these facilities because they are unmanned and they are rarely visited. We do have utilities that we will run to the area at our cost and shouldn't increase the demand on the public utilities as they are now.
Okay. Questions from the board?
So when you guys pick this site, it is geographically picked, you're not able to move it a half mile, a mile, east or west, or how close to this area does it need to be? Is this pretty good set point?
Yeah, we have a defined search area. There's some latitude within that to be reasonable, but again, we have to balance all the other requirements that are on us from both the federal, state, and local levels to make sure we meet everybody's requirements. And we have to find somebody who will actually lease this property.
I might ask, what's the closest tower to this location?
The closest tower to this location is more than 2 miles away, as far as I'm aware. And I believe our carrier is already on that tower.
Is that how that works? Is the faster the speed of the phone, isn't that how that works? The faster it is, the slower, or the more space you need between towers?
I'm sorry.
So when you go from a 4G to a 5G, that's when the towers need to become closer together. Is that true?
No, not necessarily. I'm hoping my earpiece isn't giving the feedback, but maybe it is.
I might ask, what drove the necessity then for the tower again?
What's that?
What drove the necessity for the tower again? Is
The
it-
existing coverage is not within the standards that the FCC sets for the carrier's coverage. So if you look at the coverage map that we submitted, you can tell that there's not coverage in this area that we're trying to address. So part of the FCC licensing is that the carriers are required to provide coverage to the entirety of the area that they're licensed to cover.
I would agree with that because 900 north on 27 to the church is terrible reception.
This thing's killing me.
It's not you, it happens all.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna throw the earpiece back in so I can hear you. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry, can you restate the question?
From 900 north on 27 to the church there, the reception is terrible. So
That's what our data shows. That's what my experience shows.
Any other questions from the board?
I think that coverage map that he submitted was perfect. And everything on the cell tower, the setbacks and everything. Obviously meet.
Comments, or do we have any letter? We have comments from the audience.
Yeah, we have letters.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a stack.
How are we handling the letters?
You are not obligated to read them into the record because they're in the record. If you want to say we received X letters in support and Y letters in opposition, that's fine. It's really up to you, Mr. Chairman. I've had chairmen on our BZAs, other areas that like to read every single one. But it is not a requirement of your rules or of state law. It is already a matter of record.
In some cases, I'm suspecting that if I read letters, I also have people that wrote the letters in the audience
That's
that might
right.
come up and say the same thing.
Yeah, and that's just being duplicitous. New York Times crossword.
Why don't we go ahead and let the audience that want to speak for or against come up and do so. Name and address, come on up.
Yeah, let Mr. Lau get out of the way here and then people can come on up. And then he'll have a time for rebuttal after everyone else.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jason Gross and I live at 11822 North 350 West, approximately within a half mile of the proposed APT tower site at 3612 West 1200 North. I'm here to respectfully oppose contingent use petition CU-2025-2026. I have several reasons. First, compatibility. This is a quiet residential and agricultural area. A tower this size is simply not compatible with the surrounding land use and would permanently alter the character of our neighborhood. We're just right next door on 350 running north-south there. Second, property values. Communication towers are known to reduce the value of nearby homes. As an adjacent property owner, this directly harms myself and my neighbors. Third, environmental concerns. This parcel is within the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's current range for the endangered Indiana bat and threatened northern long-eared bat. This property has significant bat activity Neighbors and I regularly see multiple bats at dusk flying over the tree line and fields. The site provides the kind of habitat that federally protected bats rely on: mature trees, woodland edges, and foraging corridors. These species are federally protected, and the site contains habitat features that the bats rely on for survival. Before any approval, environmental review and coordination with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services should be required. Finally, alternatives exist. Co-location on existing towers or placement in commercial or industrial zones would avoid these negative impacts. And I would also like to add, we have excellent cell service at that location. It's great. My 5G is awesome. And tonight I'm delivering you a petition signed by 61 residents within the country block there. Within approximately 1/2 mile of the site. These are the community members that are most directly affected, and they strongly oppose CU 2025-2026. For these reasons, I respectfully urge the board to deny this petition, or at minimum to continue it until full environmental review is completed and compatibility with the land use ordinance is demonstrated. Thank you for your time and considering the concerns of the community. And I'd like to present you with the petition, if that's okay. Tonight we have 61. These are all the neighbors. Do not want this.
Anyone else want to come forward and?
Hi, my name is Gina Raymond, and I'm a resident at 11800 North, 350 West Decatur. And I'm here today to object to the communication tower application for contingent use by Fredler of APC towers be located at approximately 3612 West 1200 North in Section 1 of Pebble Township in Adams County, Indiana. A contingent use as described in Adams County zoning ordinance is for a use that is essential or desirable to the public convenience, but is not necessarily a permitted use. However, the proposed communications tower will be detrimental to area real estate values, disruptive to the neighborhood character and aesthetics, a disturbance to natural site amenities, and an irresponsible placement of the tower. The tower is neither desirable nor essential as required in the contingent use section of the Adams County zoning ordinance. Of immediate concern is the potential loss in value to real estate in the surrounding area as a result of the siting of this tower. Many studies have been completed and have found that communication towers have a detrimental effect on property values. One such study found a 9.78% drop in real estate value if a communications tower was even visible. It also revealed homes within a 72-kilometer radius, 2,362 feet, suffered a drop even without the tower being visible. In the neighborhood surrounding the approximate location, there are many residences within the detrimental radius as 0.72 kilometers, 2,362 feet. Additionally, a study by the National Association of Realtors in 2022 reported that 93% of buyers are concerned about purchasing a home near a cell tower. Therefore, property owners in this area are likely to see longer listing times should they wish to sell and lower values. These devaluations are significant and are the result of widespread public concern regarding the potential ill health effects associated with communication towers and by what has been described as the aesthetic blight of communication towers. These communication towers have been referred to as being unsightly and as neighborhood nuisances. Just a few of the terms associated with these towers in much of the literature read. In this matter at hand, a steel tower is being planned for placement in a wooded area in close proximity to residents, many less than 1.1 miles from the tower. This area is zoned agricultural and is comprised of farms, natural woods, and single-family residences. The steel tower is certainly aesthetically at odds with the natural setting. And while Mr. Lowe said that the location would provide screening by existing vegetation, that vegetation is only there for part of the year. In September through March, much of that is gone. So the cell tower will be clearly visible. This does not fit the character of the neighborhood and is therefore an undesirable encroachment. We request that our neighborhood character and aesthetics be preserved instead of allowing urban encroachment in an agricultural setting. Placement of this tower at this location is irresponsible. It is not essential as residents of this area already have access to 5G. In addition, the placement of the tower just inside Adams County on the Allen County, Adams County line would suggest that the communication tower service is not just a service for Adams County, but also for Allen County. Perhaps another location should be established that will ensure that the tower provides such service to Adams County in its entirety. We ask that the Adams County Board of Zoning Appeals request that the APC tower study other possible locations that are more conducive to a 5G tower for Adams County. To conclude, we respectfully object to the installation of this tower by ABC Towers due to the potential loss of value to real estate, the negative aesthetic impact on the character of our neighborhood, and the irresponsible choice of location for the tower. While the leaseor, the church, may receive a financial payoff for the lease of the land, the church's neighbors will see the opposite, a financial loss. The tower is not desirable, nor is it essential as called for in Adams County zoning ordinance for contingent use. I have a picture here of our neighborhood showing you the character, the aesthetics associated with our neighborhood. And the view shows where the cell phone, these are all deciduous trees, they will all lose their leaves. So the cell will be clearly seen 6 months of the year. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Name and address.
Troy Zimmerman, 1831 North 350 West. Sorry, I didn't know I was getting followed up here.
And Adria Zimmerman, same address. We are not going to be quite as technical.
No, I didn't print anything out as my neighbors did, or my
There.
mother-in-law, but we all live next to each other.
And we all feel very much the same way. I will tell you that the lack of coverage that he's stating isn't in our neighborhood. It is, like Mr. Salking said, to the south, which is closer between Monmouth and 900. That is lack of coverage. If you're going down 27, your phone will drop every time and cut out most of the time if it doesn't drop. And all of our neighbors have different carriers. We've had AT&T, T-Mobile.
Sprint.
He's had Verizon. We've had Sprint. We go to whoever has the best deal or what, phone wise at that time. And we've never had an issue with coverage.
So one thing everybody's talking about is property values. I don't plan on selling my house, but what we do have are kids on this road. And there is no way that I didn't get your name. You don't have the studies to show that this does not hurt or harm people over a long term because it's too new of a technology.
And it states that.
For crying
across
out
the
loud,
board
you can't even get
online.
a mesh hernia insert without having a lawsuit 2 years later. Like, it is an example, I'm just saying, like, we care about the kids. There's a school right there. Again, he's talking about vegetation. Yeah, it's gone half the year. There's towers around there.
There's not a lack of coverage.
There's not anything that I can say that these two haven't said already, except for, I guess, put your families in my family's position right now. You want your kids playing next to that? I don't think you do. There's nobody here that could tell me they do. And the I guess I have a question for you guys, and you might know and you might not know. How long is a normal time to get a notice for something like this, to prepare a case? Because, again, we went around the county block. Only 3 people didn't sign this thing. The 3 people that didn't sign it are still opposed to it. They just don't want to step on the church's toes. They just
100%
feel like
everybody was opposed to it.
they don't want to get in the way of the church.
They
And
don't
I
wanna
get it.
upset their church.
I understand that.
It's our church.
But some of these people didn't even get letters. And I'm confused as to how those go out, I guess. How do they decide who gets a letter, who doesn't get a letter? Because if this tower's for this community, then this community especially should have all been notified about this. And I think that it's done in a way, and again, I could be wrong. Sorry, I get on one and I keep going.
We're opposed to it.
Okay. I think what I'm saying is you don't get a letter on time to put a case together against this kind of
Correct.
stuff. And everybody here can vouch for that. It's true. They hope you don't come. So all I'm asking is some common sense, like for real, like put yourself in other people's shoes and obviously I feel strong.
I'd like to quick answer your question though.
Yeah.
So we have rules that we have to follow by state statute.
Mhm.
Letters go out 10 days prior.
Okay.
Snail mail sucks these days, so there can be people that get them and some don't because the mail is horrible.
So that's not
But
even,
and then we used to send just to adjacent owners. And a few years back, I asked to change it and our planning commission allowed me to. We go to a quarter of a mile. Because
Quarter of
this
a mile?
adjacent would be a handful of people, so we were doing a quarter of a mile.
a quarter of a mile from
From that spot.
that spot.
Yep. We
Okay.
can actually tell our
'Cause-
computer to make a circle, quarter of a mile from that location. And then wherever it hits, our computer spits out addresses and names and we send them.
Okay.
That's
Well,
how.
thank you. I appreciate that.
No, there's no effort not to have you here. I just want to make sure you know that. We
Well, I
absolutely-
just feel
'cause
like
if we
you
don't
get
follow
such
it-
a short notice,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? To
I know, but it's
actually
just how,
get a petition together, go around, like that's,
I know. We put it in the paper, it's in both newspapers.
Now, is that only Adams County?
What's that?
Is that only Adams County? Because it
Yes,
seems like the Allen.
Yeah, you would never, we don't send to Allen. That's
Right
not,
across the street.
that's not our,
There's no way for us to grab those addresses on our system.
well, that's not our, we can only deal with Adams County.
Morally, maybe we should in this case.
We just can't, because we've had hog buildings, other things that have distances. We only can deal with what we have jurisdiction over.
Name and address.
Jennifer Lehrman, 11873 North 350 West. I am lot 22 on the map. So everything I'm going to say is everything they've said. Same things. I do know that not everybody on our road, quarter mile long, received letters just because of speaking to them and with the petition. So not everybody was notified. I mean, I won't like sit here and really like beat a dead horse, but the bat thing is we see bats all the time. They fly around half my property is wooded. So we have them all over our property. We walk our road up and down the road all the time. When we walk our dogs, there are bats everywhere. So that is a concern because they will be removing all wooded area. That is the church's property. 3 of us are members of this church that are here in attendance tonight. There are 15 children under the age of 18 in this half-mile radius just on this road. They play in the woods all the time. It's just the safety issues of the children, property values. That is a huge thing for us as well. So like I said, I don't want to say I can repeat everything everybody else said, but we are strongly opposed to this. I have also had Sprint, Verizon, and AT&T personally, and with my employers, and I've lived here for 10 years, and I've never had a single coverage issue. I work remotely. I'm on my cell phone all the time, all day long, and have never had a coverage issue. So I would be interested in seeing who these 3 carriers are that they are saying that this tower would be for. And like she said, Mom, I can't drive my kids to school and be on the phone if I go through Monmouth because I get dropped every single time. Or I can't have a work call if I'm on the road and be there because I will lose the call. But in this particular location, like I said, I've never had cell phone coverage issues. So we are opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Daniel Porter, 3480 West, 1200 North. We oppose the CU 2025-26 due to the reasons mentioned in our neighborhood's petition. We also have a couple additional comments to add to our opposition related to this discussion of an alternate location site. I did create a map, if you guys got that, basically showing, kind of in yellow on this map where the current proposed site is, and there are 16 residences within just a quarter-mile radius of our site. I then went out just in a roughly 3-mile distance away, just that's what I could get on the map, and I was able to find over a dozen other sites that within a quarter-mile radius would have 0 residences. So I would just urge that the company trying to put this tower in find an area that has little to nobody, hopefully nobody within that kind of radius, let alone 16 of us in our neighborhood. Probably one of the densest areas in the area of homes. And then, as this question was kind of asked before, basically a question for the board members, if this antenna were going up close to your residence in your neighborhood, would you be in favor of it then? That's all. Thank you for your time.
Can I make a comment yet?
Name and address, yes.
We're gonna keep things civil, because I know you guys also. We're not gonna be mad at anybody. I'm Gene Whitty. Technically, my brother got this letter in the mail. He's a adjoining landowner. So I don't know the exact address of his location, but our farm location is 11404 North, 350 West. That's the best location I can give you, but my brother's passed away, so I'm representing him as his estate right now because it's still open. He got the letter. So those RF maps, I think that might clear up a lot of hesitancy maybe. I didn't see what you guys seen because it's my understanding these towers got to be a certain distance. And what I've been able to find out, one is located on the Hoagland Road east of Hoagland. The next one's in Decatur. And this one is in betweener. It's kind of like a bouncing signal is how it's supposed to work. And being a farmer, my office is mobile. And Aaron's mentioned it too. He's got dead spots and somebody else did when they're driving up and down the road. Monmouth is a dead spot. I live on 1,000 where I live in my home residence, and I've got dead spots there too. And that's what this tower is going to help fill in is the distance from the Hoagland Tower to the Decatur Tower. That's why they want to site it in a certain spot. That's my understanding. So having a mobile office, it becomes more important to have communication. I can't just sit in my house because I've got a better signal in my house also. But it's the cell phone coverage when you're out on the move. It's the problem. So I'm for it. I'm not 100% sure on all the health effects of what it is. I've heard of that with the 5G signal. Some of them think of, but there's an awful lot of them in the towns that are cited that way with I'm having an old man fart now, but that G5G signal, yeah. So it's not taking up cropland, and yeah, you could site it farther away and be in crop ground, but then you're taking something out of production that's making money for somebody. This is woods ground, which it does have value, I'll give you that. So, but it's a lesser of two evils, I'll say. Now, nobody's talked about Allen County, and I called Megan about Allen County. I own ground right across the road, didn't get a notice on it. And I'm just down the road from the housing addition there. And I would bring up a point that nobody said. I've got high tension power lines running through my farm. That's less than like a quarter mile off of the county line to the north. There used to be an existing cell phone tower to the east on the Allen County side. And I just heard from Trent back there that has been torn down, but that had been in existence for 15, 20 years. So it's not contiguous, but
it was in the area, and there are high tension power lines in the area too. So from the aesthetic side of it, I don't see the big argument there, just from my point of view. I understand everybody else's, but that's my point of view is, and I don't think it can stop at county lines. You know, this is going to service Allen County, Adams County, because of the relay effect. And I'm a Verizon customer, and that's, I think what's cited here is that's what they want to service first and foremost, but there's going to be secondary providers too. But I've been on the phone for hours on end talking with Verizon when I don't have a signal. And they can do things to make it better sometimes, but then it seems to go away when high traffic times come. So that's the other benefit we're going to get from this tower is it's going to allow more traffic on there. And nobody seems to go backwards when it comes to streaming and stuff nowadays. That's where all of our bandwidth goes on our cell signal. And then we can't make normal phone calls and stuff. You got to resort to a text or not get service and drop calls. So that's my 2 cents worth. Don't shoot the messenger, but I'm kind of for it because it helps my business being mobile. And I would like to see that RF map if it's, I can glance at it if you don't mind. If it goes as far as Union Township, you know.
Is there a way to get copies?
You can look, you can have it. Look at it.
Can I look at them and you guys can move on and I'll share them? Okay, thank you.
Can we look at other sites where the old tower was? Why it was taken down and can it put back up where it was or at Monmouth where it won't construct agricultural site? Yeah, if it's so bad at Monmouth and Adoption.
Is there anyone else wanting to speak for or against, or we'll go to the rebuttal from Mr. Lau?
I have a question against Cynthia Rose, 3380 West 1200 North Decatur. How many miles does a tower cover? I know it bounces out from tower to tower, but like you said, there's one 3 miles away. Why doesn't that cover our area?
Yeah, we're not going to answer that.
Yeah, maybe the gentleman.
He can try to answer
Okay.
that on rebuttal.
I'm just curious.
Mr. Lowe, would you like to rebuttal? Yeah.
I got a request from the crowd to make it short, but I'll do my best. One thing I just want to bring attention to, I didn't have it in my opening comments, but there is a 1996 Telecommunications Act that kind of sets the rules for how we play on these things. And I heard the questions about the health effects. As far as what we're doing in the wireless world, that 1996 Telecommunications Act kind of lays the groundwork and indicates that local zoning decisions aren't to be made on the benefit or detrimental health effects of this technology. Just wanted to put that in the record. The other thing that I thought was odd, we didn't get the petition until about 2 hours before the meeting. So I don't know who all has signed the petition, but I did look at some of the addresses. And it struck me that I believe the gentleman that submitted it said it was about a half mile. It's more like almost a mile by the time you get out to the addresses that they are. So the reason I raise that point is I get in that predicament. I don't know if you hear the acronym NIMBY, not in my backyard. And basically I've got people signing this petition that if I move it, like we were talking earlier, well, now I just change the faces in the crowd. So that's not a remedy. And if we meet the ordinance requirements, there's really no need to do that. The other one lady asked what the radius of coverage is. It depends on the topography and the population density and several factors, but as a rule of thumb, these towers, and I think I said it in my write-up on my application, covers about 2 to 3 mile radius out. But those cells have to mesh together almost like a honeycomb. And that's what the system is built, so that each site overlaps to the right degree, not too much overlap, because then they start fighting each other, but not far enough away, because then you create dead zones, and now you got a whole nother problem that you're creating. The reason they directed us to the area that we're at is because that correctly, I think I love the adage, the in-betweener. This tower is the in-betweener that fits nicely into those two existing cells and fixes the coverage problem that we're seeing. I know they brought up the bat concerns, and again, we have to adhere to FCC guidelines and USFWS guidelines. We have made application to the USFWS for consultation and directive, and we have I know this is out of the purview really of the county zoning, but just to be concise, we do work hand in glove with the USFWS. They set guidelines, and I believe for this tower site, we cannot remove trees between the months of, I think, May and October. Don't quote me on that, but I do have that documentation if you want me to submit it to the board just for your reference. Again, I don't believe it's a purview of the county zoning, but I'm more than happy to supply it.
Can I
if
ask
we
how
need
many
it.
acres?
What's that?
How many acres would the footprint be?
On this particular one, I believe it's 0.6, it's about 3/4 of an acre.
3/4 of an acre.
The whole footprint.
And when you lease that land from the landowner, be it a farmer or in this case a church, you've established a number, right? A payment.
Yes, sir.
For the lease. My assumption would be that it covers the value of that land as seen by a farmer. If he's going to give up 3/4 of an acre, he's not going to give up the income of that 3/4 of an acre because that's what the lease is going to cover.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct. And in this case, I will make the point, and I think somebody made the point, we did on purpose stay out of the productive agricultural area on the property. So we went out of our way to
But that
do.
puts you close to a lot of residences.
It puts us closer to a lot of residents, but we are again shielded by the vegetation, and we're not closer than what's allowed by ordinance.
Those trees aren't 230 feet tall.
Nope, you're not wrong. I'm sorry, when I say it's shielded, the base of the tower, the industrial looking portion of it is what I would say is better screened in this situation than if we were in the middle of a field. That's my only point.
Do we have a question?
Legal?
Pardon me?
We have
I didn't hear
additional,
the question.
we have additional hands up for comment from the audience.
You've asked, and then there was nobody showing up, and then it was time for rebuttal, and we have another item on the agenda. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you how to run your meeting, but I'm gonna say that the rules, which you can alter as the chair, as to process, say petitioner, those in support, those in opposition, and then rebuttal, and then it goes to you guys to make a decision.
Yes.
I have a couple questions. Number one, due to the height of the tower, is it required to have a light on top of it?
Oh, yeah.
So that will be a distraction to us visually in our homes, with the light.
Someone else had a question?
I also had a couple questions.
What about people that are sensitive, like what this tower puts out? Because you can, Google will give you that people suffer from sleep deprivation and nausea. There might be another thing or two. So what happens?
See, this is the hazard. When we start doing
But I
that,
find it interesting
and then
that
we
that's
don't
not
have a
allowed.
proper
But
record.
Yeah.
It's the people's concerns. I mean,
It is, but there needs to be order.
Until it's there, and then when it's there, it's too late.
He didn't state these.
And then our
things in his
property value
opening
goes
days.
down, so we can't sell it because
property value has gone down if it is destructive to us. And,
And 5G is so new, there's no way this fella can tell
Yeah,
you anything.
As he stated, we're going off 1996 guidelines. I don't believe 5G existed in 1996.
have the data to prove
Look,
that.
Mr. Loud, you
One at a time. We have a point of order from Mr. Hartman.
That just out of order, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so we're ready for finding of facts.
Well, do I get a chance to rebut the additional or not? I'm not pushing.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify there, this will be a lit tower. So we're not trying to bait and switch. The only thing I'll say about that, they do design them so that the light goes up to where the airplanes are as much as possible, but they will be visible. One thing I didn't mention, but since you reintroduced the property values, those decisions are typically in a zoning setting, has to be brought by the petition, the petitioner or the object to the petitioner, with some kind of other than hearsay. So I heard, and even on the petition, it says it may affect property values I can sit here and say, well, from what we've seen, it hasn't, but I don't have any data available.
Buy a house under one.
I can provide a list of various sources so that.
So-
Anything else?
So I would ask two things. The biggest things I'm hearing is that they're afraid of what, the complaints are that it's not gonna look right. And the other complaint I'm hearing is they're worried about the bats. We've taken care of the bat situation. The other one is the property value. I would be willing to table this if the board would see fit. And then I can offer additional information at a hearing in the future, if that would be preferable and acceptable to the board. But I could address those two, specifically those two issues, that property value and the aesthetics. I would offer to supply photo simulations to show you exactly what the tower is going to look after the fact.
Thoughts from the board? Or we go to finding of fact.
Finding facts.
All right, question number one. Approval will or will not be essential or desirable to the public convenience or welfare because.
It will be, the location was chosen to correct an issue with coverage area between County Line Road and Monmouth.
I would agree.
Great. Question number two. The applicant did or did not establish that the refusal of this contingent use will constitute an undue hardship on the applicant because.
I believe that they did because there are so many federal regulations, and along with that, I'm sure it is very difficult to find a location that could be rented or easily obtained to position this tower.
I would agree.
Agreed. Question number three, the petitioner has or has not established that the contingent use is not in conflict with the Adams County Comprehensive Plan.
Has established, the comprehensive plan. They're trying to get more internet and more capabilities in the long-term plan. talk about in our long-term county planning meetings.
And the current plan really just does not address telecommunications.
But as far as,
So you can't
as far
really
as for
prove a
the
negative.
long-range county meetings that we have, one of the main strives for the North Adams superintendent is to increase cell service and internet capabilities because there's so many kids that don't have internet.
Yep.
Agree?
Agreed.
We've heard from a lot of folks that are opposed to this. In the rural community, it is pretty densely populated with families and residents.
Agree?
I would disagree. I do not believe it will be detrimental to the surrounding community. I'd actually think it'll be a benefit.
I would agree
Agree with what?
with Doug.
This isn't a vote. I mean, in
Not
terms
yet.
of each item, you discuss the findings and it'll be up to the members to make a motion for approval or denial based on your discussion of the findings.
If granted, the board prescribes the following conditions.
I'd make a motion that we approve the contingent use for the cell tower.
When did we discuss number 4?
Well, I mean, I thought you did. We had one member say that it didn't meet number 4 and the other two said it did, at least in their opinion. And Doug has made a motion for approval, so obviously you know where he comes down on that criteria. Now, is there a second?
I'll second.
You can have more discussion at this time if you want, but or you can take a vote and that's up to you, Mr. Chairman.
I think the will of the people needs to be addressed. And I think there can be other locations considered that wouldn't conflict with as many residents. That's my opinion.
Do you have any other areas that would fit, that you don't move your cell phone tower too far to cause issues? Do you have secondary sites that would work?
I do not at this time.
Doesn't mean he couldn't try harder.
All due respect, we've been looking for 2 years. And the service gap is still here and has been here for 2 years. And again, we're not violating the ordinance per se. This is a judgment call and I completely understand that. But again, I did offer and request if we table this for a month and I can go try to address the objections or the concerns that the neighbors had and come back and we can revisit this next month and see if I can satisfy some of those concerns. Because we're not trying to be bad neighbors. I'm not trying to force anything down your throat. We have a difference of opinion. I'd like to be able to make my case.
It would appear to me that the revisit would be find a more agreeable location. And then it's smooth sailing. I think everybody wants and appreciates what cell towers do, but there's other
Yeah, but
real estate that could be.
Yeah, my only argument is You've got people who signed that petition that live well away from where this is.
Country block.
And so if I move it a country block, are those same people going to be here again?
Well,
And
I
telling
think
me,
there's
no, I
another
don't
map
like
showing
this
that the
one.
population density is lesser in some of the other surrounding nearby.
So then you will only
areas.
have two people and that would be okay.
It would be more agreeable than what we have today.
Okay, well, I'm not sure that the same people in that whole country block aren't going to show up again if I move it a country block. And that's the whole reason we try to meet the ordinance requirements.
Sure.
And we try to make the case for one that fits in the ordinance requirements. And again, I would be more than happy to try to make my case stronger from the two things that they brought up. Again, there's nothing that's been put into the record of any substantial evidence on property value, but I understand that's a concern that's probably having some effect on your opinion. I'd like to be able to submit some supporting data for what I'm saying, which is that it's been shown that it doesn't affect, but again, you can find anything for that. And the other situation is the aesthetics, what it's going to look like when it's standing. And I'd be more than happy to provide photo simulations showing from several angles that the county can call out to me.
I suspect most people know what they look like. We've seen them.
Yeah, but
We
you don't
need
know
to
what it's
have,
going
we
to
need
look
to
like.
have 3 in favor for this to pass.
You have a motion on the table.
Yes.
You need 3 votes for that motion to approve to pass. If you don't have 3 votes, the motion dies. Somebody could always make a motion to deny, or somebody could make a motion. And if you do nothing, then you haven't come to a vote. So you have to vote again the next time there's 5 members.
That's
So
what
we
I-
have
I
a
make
motion and we
I
have a
make
second.
I make a motion to deny.
Well, let's finish one
We gotta
motion
finish the
first.
first one. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And then all opposed. That's,
Aye.
so we have an opposed.
So it's 2, that was 2-2.
So we have to wait for Phil.
You didn't vote.
I didn't vote yet.
Okay. You can vote.
I oppose.
Okay, so it's 2-2.
Yes.
All right, and we need 3 to do anything. And so
So
that motion dies for tonight. And then you can ask if there's any other motions, which would include a motion to deny or a motion, at any time, we were gonna get into this on the next item. The board, a member of the board can always make a motion to continue it for additional evidence, additional testimony, studies, documents, or statements from any individual or organization with a unique understanding of the situation before you. So you can do that, or you can just let it ride. Next week or next month, you come and vote, but the hearing's closed. So you're not gonna get any more testimony if you take that route.
Mr. Chairman, can I withdraw my original motion?
Well, it's done. I mean,
It's done.
yeah,
Could I make a motion that we table
of
at
course.
this point for additional?
I think it's already closed. Didn't we?
No, we had a motion to approve that failed. And so the matter is still on the table to see if you can get 3 votes to do something. Which in this case would either be deny, and it sounded like Mr. Hartman was making a motion.
I second your motion to table.
For continuance for additional evidence.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're right.
Yes.
Okay. This table.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to hit the restroom, folks. Die over here.
Motion for a recess, would that be?
Where's my gavel?
A minute.
Do we not have a motion to deny? I heard that.
So does that mean there's another
Next
hearing?
month.
There's another hearing next?
Thank you.
And can we get? Yes.
Well, it'll be next month. You already have it right now.
Yeah, but what about the people that live within a quarter mile? that didn't
Start
know?
calling. We did what we were required to do as a
Thursday
statute.
next month.
Okay.
Oh, it's Thursday, we don't know these things?
Yeah, third Thursday next month.
Okay, thank you.
October 16th.
October 16th?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes. If I'd had that, it would have been done 2 hours ago.
I wish.
Sheriff's Office at 3646 North, 200 East. They are wanting to transform the property into a training facility for the Adams County Sheriff's Office, including building 2 firing ranges on the property. For County Land Use Ordinance Section 2-4-2-C, a contingent use is needed for a governmental installation not otherwise permitted. The land is located in Section 13 of Washington Township. We think we've fixed the speaker hum, but we can't guarantee anything.
Understood. Gentlemen, thank you for hearing us tonight. I'm not gonna really hash out the reasons for this. This is our 3rd meeting on this topic, so you know why I want it. I'm here to discuss the changes that we made to the plan that I think reduces the risk of negligent discharges and the reduction of sound. Those are the 2 main complaints that we've been hearing about. So, the major changes, if you look at the maps I gave you, the small pistol range to the north side of the property, that was changed a lot because we raised the berm. The berm is a 14-foot earth embankment berm. And doing that with the property that we had to really narrow down the size of the inside usable part. We were looking at a 6-lane. Now we'll be lucky we get 3 lanes in there. So that was a huge change. And then the long gun range to the south and east of the property, that berm was completely changed. We've encompassed probably, I'm gonna say, close to 85% of that range with a 14-foot earth embankment. And doing that cuts the possibility of an errant round going out. If a round goes out of that, it's almost going pretty much straight up. And then it will travel a long distance. I'm not gonna deny that. I cannot guarantee a round won't come out of that range. If anybody guarantees that, they're lying to you. But the possibility of it happening with the trained personnel that will be using the range, the possibilities are extremely low. With the height of the range, and I'm gonna get Nate into this a little bit to explain the height of the range and how that dampens the noise and how the noise travels out at distances.
I'm Nate Rumschlag. I actually work as the Adams County Highway Engineer. I've been asked by Sheriff Dan to assist in some technical work on this as far as the decibel reduction of the sound barrier wall and how that would be done. In addition to the 14-foot perimeter barrier wall around the rifle range, there's also it actually increases up to 18 feet at the backstop. That's actually on that plan right there. You see the little black line. That is actually the direction of the anticipated direction of fire for the long range shots. It's actually 18 feet. In the research of NRA rifle range design standards and other sound barrier walls, this is probably the largest or tallest barrier wall that I could find anywhere listed. Short of an interstate highway barrier, those would be about the tallest you would see as far as noise canceling barrier walls. Being an earthen embankment versus a hard solid wall, there's less risk of sound echoing backwards off of that wall. There's usually complaints of a loud noise bouncing off of a flat hard surface. Being in an earthen embankment with vegetation on it, that actually reduces that as well. In addition to the increased length of that barrier area, we're actually taking some credit for the fact that you've got the building blocking another portion of that as well. Any area that isn't dampened by a barrier wall, there's no residential areas in those vicinities. So all of that would just be cornfields in those areas. Everybody would have at least a 5 to 10 decibel reduction in sound from that barrier wall. And we were trying to be conservative by giving the lower number as well as far as that reduction. One of the plans actually shows the circumference area of what that anticipated sound would be based on accepted calculations for reduction of the noise. As well with this changes the pistol range that you have to the north. Not only is there an embankment in the direction of fire, you've got 2 hard concrete jersey barriers on both the north and south side, as well as a back wall to the west. So within the pistol range, which is actually tends to be louder based on the accepted data that I could find versus even rifle ranges, there is nowhere that the sound from a weapon discharge would not be mitigated by some barrier. So there's going to be a barrier in all directions on the pistol range, which will be used more often, I believe, versus the rifle range. And as well with this, there is an increase. There's an addition of screening trees that are being proposed both to the west of the rifle range and then to the north and west of the pistol range in some of those open areas. So that is something that's been offered as part of the plan. The total number of trees certainly is up for discussion. I know we set the number at 14 feet because it's really about as high as I could justify based on the accepted industry standards. But there's nothing to say that if there's a magic number that you're looking for as far as height, there's not a reason that that couldn't be increased. That's not a hard number based on this. This is just a schematic plan based off of the information that Dan gave me and what I could find in my research. I think there is a decimal scale on sheet, I believe it's on sheet 2. You actually see kind of how those calculations were both measured, and there's some calibration on what I showed from the sound testing that was done by the sheriff's office prior to the previous application. So you can see kind of the center of the rifle range, what that noise would be, and the residences that would be potentially impacted, as well as some of the increased area that was encompassed by the change in the shape of the rifle range and that barrier wall. It's certainly a significant reduction in the decibels. It certainly covers every residence within that area is behind that barrier wall.
On C2, you'll see coming off of the rifle range, that square checkered shadowed area coming off. That's showing you the extending of that range wall going down or up to the north and east. It took that property out of the main decimal sign. You see that property shaded across the street from the range.
Again, if you zoom into the very center of that circle to the southwest of that, that's that leg that returns back up on that barrier. So you scroll. So there you go.
Yeah.
See the double hatch on that? I didn't do it in a different color, but it's the area that aims at that attenuation table.
Yeah.
So
And the gray shaded area is the gentleman's residence property. And the northern side of that double hatched mark right there that's where the sound might not have any barrier coming through, but all his property is now covered for sound reduction by that barrier. That was one of the other changes we made because we first just had just like a little U-shaped mound there, and it allowed a lot of that other sound coming out. So we encompassed all except for further to the north. But then again, what's blocking that sound that escapes there is the building itself. It provides a sound barrier in itself. And that lightly shaded area there, where 1,000 foot, 17 foot, that is where the sound can escape without barrier. We have some trees there, but there are no residents in that area.
And as well, for just comparison, the tech services study, I believe that you were presented a copy of this. The sound measurements that were done during the test firing, you'll see those points, those data points that are in here are also represented on that map, showing what was measured on those dates and what the anticipated decimal ranges would be based off of after the barrier. And once you're getting down below 80 decibels or down to that 80 decibel range, it really becomes very difficult to measure. Even this room, we're somewhere in the range of 40 to 50 decibels. So even with a quiet room like that, you're somewhere in that range. So it's now granted 80 decibels is probably closer to maybe a lawnmower going running, but certainly I think that this has been certainly a more aggressive approach and documentation for you and for the residents to understand the efforts being put together to make a solid case to protect their quality of life and for anybody concerned with their own safety.
Any questions?
You have made quite a few changes.
If you wanted to see just for comparison scale, I think on that C2 at the top left, there is just a little detail, the tiny little sheriff icon in there as far as how tall this wall would be if you're actually standing next to this. And based on the LiDAR data that we were able to pull from the county GIS system, at minimum, you're looking about a 14-foot barrier wall with someone inside that. In all the directions you're going to be shooting down, either at the target or at eye level. There would be no reason for anybody to be shooting up at all. And with the sheriff, usually you're having someone that's qualifying a deputy. So anybody being errant would certainly be subject to discipline from the department.
How tall is the wall at the shooting range in Bern and the shooting range in Decatur?
They're about 14 foot.
14?
Yes.
And this is
Decatur, I'm not sure because I haven't been on that range in years. I don't know if they did, but Bern is about a 14 foot. That's where I originally came with that number from. I was copying their range.
But did I hear you say 18?
On the end that we're going to be shooting at, on that diagram, the 14-foot line, then you see another type of hash. And then the 6 foot, that is what's going to be at the end of the range where our targets are normally going to be, and that's going to be 18. The other proposal had, I think, 14, then with the 2 foot Jersey wall concrete pads up there. But again, that reflects some of the noise like he was saying. So we went all earth, and I made arrangements to be able to get more earth because I was using the earth that was at the jail. But that's not going to be enough to build this one. So I've made arrangements if approved, we will have more dirt hauled.
And there's room to make that potentially taller if that's a concern, if that needs to be a condition of it. I'm not going to volunteer trying to provide more soil. I can't necessarily do that. But if there is a certain height that is key or subject for you as for your consideration, this isn't a final design. This is a BZA proposal. For the size of project this is, it would require a stormwater general permit. Because we're going to be over an acre of disturbed area. That's something that in talking to the sheriff, we would likely contract that out to make sure that there's another professional other than using my county time to necessarily develop that. But that'd be something that we would pursue as part of that project for an environmental protection, since there is a ditch nearby, all that dirt work would be going on.
So from previous cost, do you think it's substantial more? What you had?
The hauling of dirt will be more of the cost. I have to rent equipment. There'll be a little bit more cost of that because I'll have to move from the jail to the location to be able to load. So there will be a little bit more cost added for this design, yes.
I do have one question. And so why didn't the county keep the jail with the shooting range in it for that purpose only?
Well, the jail has never had a range there.
The old jail did not.
No, the old jail on the river?
Yes.
No, there was no range there. Well,
I
I take that
understand
back.
there was a 2-lane.
Indoor,
Yes.
there was, but that was shut down probably before I even came to work as a police officer back in '93. They turned that into record storage. Because an indoor range, the HVAC, the ventilation is very costly and stuff, so they shut that down. It's hard to run an indoor range.
I worked in the private sector. I was involved with a firm that did some of the range, the indoor range that was at the Police Academy in Fort Wayne. And there was significant design discussions. I bet they spent more time trying to design that indoor range for there than they did on the rest of the facility because of how difficult it was to isolate the HVAC system and put those in. It's not just a couple of concrete walls. It is for the protection of the officers because of how their health insurance is done. The exposure to that lead for those is something that they have to be very mindful of.
So the handgun itself, that's got concrete walls on the side is what you're saying.
Well, the walls are to help hold the dirt in because our space is more compact and I can't have the base as wide. So we're putting walls in to hold the dirt basically.
So it's modeled very similarly to what you would, if you're familiar with the Blue Creek Range, that conservation club. It's going to be very similar to those lanes as far as having that fully up above any of the shooters. So we'd be modeling a similar height with that. But in addition to that, we're going to have a backstop wall behind the shooters. So you would be stepping in between the walls for your firing, and then there would be a wall behind you. So it would be specifically set up as a pistol range.
That was my next question, was tying to that Blue Creek. Is that not an option?
I would stay at the burn range before I go to that range. Because the burn range, it's controlled of who shoots there. At Blue Creek, there's, if you're a member, you can shoot.
So you couldn't block out times.
Well, I would have to ask permission to do that, because that's a paid club, so their membership would have priority, and I have a training schedule that I need to keep, and that's one of the problems I have with burn is I can't shoot there until after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Normally I'd be shooting during business hours, except for our low light fire, which we hold in December. We're shooting during the day normally.
And that's what my question would be, is if you guys would be shooting during the day, typically while people are at work.
Correct.
Would that fit into blocking out an afternoon at Blue Creek or morning at Blue Creek? And then as you do your night shoot, you could set in that block schedule.
I have not reached out to Blue Creek because, like I said, part of it is I'm pretty sure they don't want the liability of us shooting there. And I don't want to be associated with them too, because if a negligent round goes out there and, the sheriff shoots there too, then we get tied into things also. So that's, I want my own place that I can control, that if something goes wrong, it is my fault. That's what I'm going for.
Reason for asking was less population.
Gotcha. And they have had rounds go out there. I know that for a fact. So, like I said, I want to be the one responsible for anything that happens on my range.
Has Burn had any rounds go out?
They've had one, and that I know of in the history of that range being there, they've had one round go through.
Is it a rifle and pistol range?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And yes, that's a pistol range, a small one, but we'll also shoot pistol on the long range also too. I mean, that will shoot board, because how we train, we don't just shoot and train at a piece of paper. We are moving and shooting, transitioning. When my pistol goes dry, I have to transition to a long gun and vice versa. So the long range, we will do long range shooting up to 300 yards, but most of that is going to be within 50 yards and in, pistol and rifle shooting towards the high bank wall.
Any other questions?
For me, my biggest hang up would be the long range. Would be my biggest, and if you would isolate that to morning hours or try to find the time of day where people are not at home, do not be an inconvenience, and you do not.
That would be, other than the low light, that is our plan. To shoot during basically normal business hours. The only reason we don't do that now is I'm not allowed to at the burn range. I can't start shooting until 3 p.m.
And why is that?
Because the one range that went out hit an Amish school. No one was in the school, but so they don't want us shooting while there could be Amish children in the school that is downrange outside. So that's why. And that happened, I want to say, 5-6 years ago. I believe is when that took place, and that's when they changed the shooting times on that, because otherwise we used to shoot during the daytime. But that range also the city let anybody, city employees shoot there, and that was also changed because it was determined that was not from police training, that was from city employee recreational shooting.
And it's also true that people can shoot, they can set up their own private shooting ranges, correct?
That is correct. The gentleman right across from this place, when I went and got a letter who was for this, he was citing a 6.5 Creedmoor the day I went and shot that behind his house. That's what he was shooting. So yes, they're shooting all over this county without any true rules, regulations, anything like that. 2x12 is their backstop. I mean, that's what happens around here. We've had several investigations out in the county. One, I believe 2 arrests have been made for criminal recklessness because of them shooting and houses being hit. So yes, it happens. But
and there's no code for residential private citizen gun range.
No, as long as they don't charge somebody as a business, then They can shoot on their property as long as it's outside city limits.
They're likely not to have an 18-foot berm to shoot into.
I've never seen one on a private home range, never. I've never seen a 14-foot one. I tend to see 4 to 6 foot little piles of dirt.
In the redesign, the actual long range, you've not altered the downrange on that at all. I know with your original proposal, you brought a 3 mile out, and there was very, very little in behind that
No
3
houses for
mile.
3 miles.
Correct. So that
So the-
angle's still the same.
That's
That we
perfect.
did not change that for that reason. That's the least amount of people could be affected.
Any other questions?
I'm sure there'll be others that want to talk.
Well, it was discussed for Allen County at the last meeting that you were at. What was that for that payment to go there to rent there?
It's an hourly rate, just depends. So it's sporadic. If,
Does that come with a trainer?
no, I have to supply my own trainers. But again, we're talking half of my department being out of the county all at one time. And I don't believe that's acceptable.
I agree with that.
Calls and letters? And we do have letters,
Yes.
and we have a full audience, so.
We do. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm Jim Selking, 3242 North, 200 East, Decatur, Indiana. Just looking at the schematic there, it looks like that opening is to 200 East. Is that correct, Sheriff?
Opening would
With
be
the
towards
building?
33.
Correct.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay, yes, okay. In the past, I was a horse trainer for over 40 years. I have experience and I know how horses react to loud noises. This opening opens to 200, which is where the horses from our Amish community go. And it's right across the road from this proposed horse facility. I know how horses react to loud noises. Our concern is for our Amish neighbors, their safety, and the safety of the people traveling on 200 East. A loud noise causing a horse to bolt could cause serious injury or death to anyone involved. One of our young Amish lads, Neil Swartz, has proposed to put a training facility in his house right across the road, 660 yards from that facility. He trains these horses and that's his livelihood, and it's not going to bode well, loud noises for his business or for his animals. A good friend of mine, Randy Harris, has a young daughter. She was riding her horse earlier this week. The inner paddock next to Highway 27 south of Burnham. Large truck drove by, blew his air horn, started the horse, threw the girl off. She's broke her legs in 3 places. She's in the hospital now, Adams County Memorial. I don't know if she's been discharged yet, but our prayers go with her and her family. Cindy Merkel has a riding facility right across 33, which is 1,042 yards from the proposed range. She boards horses, she gives riding lessons to 4-H kids and autistic children. Loud noises are a threat to both the kids and the horses. The proposed range is only 652 yards from the Faith Chapel United Pentecostal Church. I don't think this is being respectful to a place of worship. I am a Second Amendment supporter, and I know we need to keep our law enforcement officers trained, and I'm all for it. But we have multiple facilities that are available within our area that are available for training. Blue Creek was brought up. It's just south of town. I spoke with one of the board members. He said they would welcome the sheriff's department to use their facility, and we'd be very grateful if they would help improve their facility. Tharp Firearms and Training in Decatur is another one. Decatur Police Facility, east of town. The Burn Range. Allen County Sheriff's Department on Boyd Center Road. The Fort Wayne Police Training Academy, 15 miles north of Decatur. Midwest Shooting Center in Fort Wayne. We are opposed to using taxpayer dollars to create another facility in lieu of using facilities that are currently of use. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak for or against?
Brad Butler, 3848 North Salem Road, Decatur, Indiana. I was here at the last meeting. We talked and stuff of this nature here. And right now, we have no decibels. Okay? I'm in Arcadia Village. We have no decibels. We don't have no bang, 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 bang. We don't have none of that right now. And we don't want none of that. And once again, you could not guarantee a stray bullet not going. He even said there was one down in Bern that went out and went to an Amish school. What are you guys going to do if my grandkid gets killed? What are we going to do? Now, I expect to hear an answer here because you guys are the council. So what are we going to do? And once again, no answer. It's unsafe. Why can't he put this shooting range at his police station now? He's got the dirt. He's got to move the dirt out. The dirt's already there. Move some more in. The county owns 53 acres to the north of it and 40 acres behind it. You got a lot of ground right there. Why can't he build an indoor? He says, well, the HVAC system. That's all part of it, boys. That's all part of it. He said he's got to practice at night. Flip the switch. It's dark. You're inside. We got to practice in the rain. Step outside, have one range outside. I don't know why he is so infested with this 12 acres of ground out there that he's got to have this. And as you can see, we don't want this. None whatsoever. Property values. Last time he said he went to the assessor's office, pulled some property cards, sales disclosures. Well, what was he looking at? Because there's no homes that have sold around shooting ranges in Adams County. What was he looking at? He didn't. He couldn't find nothing in ours because you know why? I'm an Indiana certified residential appraiser for the last 18 years. And I know there is none around here. So when he says it's going to lose property value, for me to sell my property, I have to acknowledge to the people that are buying my property. Now, there could be a bullet coming this way. They cannot guarantee it. One of you could be killed. You think I'm going to sell my house? Just let's all be legit. Do you think I'm going to sell my house? No. He don't know what he's talking about on property values. That's for the first thing. He said he went to the assessor's office. The kind of value he would have got from the assessor's office is called an assessed value. And being county commissioner, I'm pretty sure you guys know that. An assessed value is used for what? To figure out the property taxes, correct? Okay. What we got to find out here is the market value. And that's the value of what some person will pay for a property. Do you have documentation from some outside consultant about property values? He isn't giving me an answer, so I'd have to say that's no. So why isn't one of them been done? He says it's going to eliminate the bullets pretty well from all going out. but he cannot guarantee it. Okay. When a gun misfires, is it here, 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 or is it here, 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 here? Or did that officer pick it up? Damn, but why didn't I? Ooh, there it went. Now, where's that bullet going? Is that coming over to my house and hitting my grandkid? That's the issue. He cannot guarantee it. If you build an indoor range, it's guaranteed. We don't have to worry about decibels. We don't have to worry about grandkids. Everything is taken care of. All he has to do is worry about his HVAC system. That's it. I don't know why we're even having this conversation until he can guarantee a bullet will not come out of that. All right, that's it. I've had enough.
Anyone else?
Eugene Hill, 3928 North Salem Road. Pastor of the church that was referred to, Faith Chapel. I 100% am for law enforcement having training. I think the majority of this room appreciate everything you do. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I want to see it advance. I want to see training advance. You have a job that I'm not willing to do. And for that, I'm very thankful that you're willing to do that. So I'm not trying to beat down the desire. But as the pastor of the congregants of Faith Chapel, I feel it my responsibility that I have oversight of the church, which is the property, and especially the people. And so we just put in 3 months ago a $20,000 playground that a lot of children come to play in, a lot of kids at Acadia Village, different areas. A lot of our children go there. And it's not just during church times. We have a pond on our property that people come and fish at and throw their trash down, which irritates me sometimes, but that's another story. But they come all the time. And so my sincere worry, concern, maybe I should say, is that one stray bullet. Professional truck drivers are professional. You could say a professional anything. These are professional law enforcement. And the odds of a bullet coming, like he stated, is probably pretty slim. But there's still an odd. And if that bullet would come out and it would strike anyone, we would all walk away from that. Every person here there would be a massive destruction in our hearts and souls. So what is the gain worth the cost? The potential cost that's there. You serve and protect the people of our community. And again, I can't say it enough how thankful I am for that. But to serve and protect sometimes goes beyond the 9 to 5 of a work day. It's also to protect in decisions such as this. Maybe I'm very much in favor of finding somewhere else to do it. I'm very much in favor of having a place to train. I'd be willing to try to help find something, any way I could do to serve the community in that capacity. But to put it at this location is the one it's very difficult to justify in our view, in the view of the church, because our church is very, very close, very, very close to where this proposal is. And so in that scope, I very much would disagree with having this. I hope you can understand our sentiments. I know this has been going on for a while now, but certainly you could understand it. And I appreciate everything you've done to try to improve your plan as it is. I mean, that shows your willingness to work to get to a point of agreement. And for that, I'm thankful. I dare say that everybody in this room is thankful, very thankful for that. But I think if we could just keep searching, keep digging for something, because this, I truly believe is not it's not the answer. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
I believe if you take a proposal, go with Blue Creek, bring this, what you're doing, I think they would be overwhelmed and very happy to have you down there. A board member told me that we welcome them. We would, they can shoot anytime. We don't care. This proposal or something similar to that, believe me, they're all in favor. Or at least this board member stated to me that they would be open armed.
Name, address.
Yep. Hello, my name is Mick Freet. I live at 4008 North Salem Road, just downrange of the long range rifle proposal.
And I'm Dina Freet, same address.
It's been said repeatedly that you cannot make some people happy. With that said, I'd like to review why we're here tonight. The Golden Meadows facility was closed. The property decision went in front of politicians like the county council and commissioners and others to eventually decide to sell the surrounding farm ground at auction. What made the 11 acres of this property so special? Why did the council recommend holding back frontage in the buildings? Why did it not sell at auction? I've heard some that have said that we don't need illegals, migrants taking it over, or to turn it into the old jail or the Matador Inn situation. Not my words, but the reports. Next, we hear an interview with the sheriff stating he wanted to make the training facility all kinds of training, including hosting other departments and instructions, followed by a long-term plan to create a revenue generating facility with outside instructors. Solid building, few major issues that will need to be addressed by commissioners using taxpayer money. We've heard multiple reports that the Golden Meadows building is condemned or will be after the commissioners approve the range, as it is a money pit to fix due to structural, sanitation, mechanical, and mold issues due to leaks. Has anyone officially or independently inspected the building since the building disposition was allegedly the original driver for the project? Our community is asking, has the county council and members of the other government agencies and boards been driving this process to centralize Decatur and possibly burn police department agencies to this shooting range for personal reasons or gain? Some here have said that it's a mistake to provide so many details about the plans of the Golden Meadows facility, and that we should have waited until they gain control to make those changes when the public does not have input. That's discouraging. I commend the sheriff and his team for the work that they do. I've always been respectful and tried to understand the politics and what is it that we're really driving for this requested project. We've made strong statements and asked tough questions of this board. I do not envy your jobs either. The radio interview says other agencies would be used for this shooting site. But in our meetings, it was stated that maybe it's 3 or 4 hours a month would be normal. So is it 3 to 4 hours just for our sheriff's department? What is it that we don't know? So we should be concerning, what should be concerning is what is not being said in an open forum, but perhaps conducted in private discussions. Decatur and Adams County has many problems to solve without the perception of a hidden agenda. We want to live the country community lifestyle. Government should govern and to serve the people that they represent, not with a self-serving or personal agenda. Now, I cannot read anyone's heart, but I can only listen to their words. We have said it's not in our backyard. Unlike one senior county official stated to me, he'd be happy to have this in his backyard. I'll move on. Does the sheriff's department need a place to train? Yes. Does that training need to be at Golden Meadows? No. With the burn range, and as reported, all other training is managed out of the correction center. Is burn pushing out the sheriff's department? No. Does the county need to do something with the property? Certainly. To be determined, right? Will the sheriff's department be without a place to train if burn kicks them out? I'm going to add a little levity. No, the sheriff should run for mayor of Burn next year and solidify that relationship. Looking out for you. Also, Decatur owns 100 acres around the sitting shooting range. A quick partnership to accommodate the sheriff's team could be there. One of the BZA members stated that he voted yes to the range, in support of the range, based upon not having the sheriff's department leave the county for training. I was approached by a senior Decatur police official saying, wouldn't the 60 acres at the dump be a better location? Or better yet, help us at the Decatur Police Department with ours, and let's work together. Sounds reasonable request to me. So to the BZA member, rest assured, those with the need will be taken care of. So is this a project of want or need? I think with all due respect, it is a want, and I've heard that. We have the Golden Meadows property. We want to have a purpose for it. We have money. We want to spend it. I want everyone to listen to this carefully. My next statement is not intended to direct toward anyone specifically or at this situation, but rather a statement for the short term we occupy this earth. I recall learning a passage stating that we should make daily decisions to honor God, not personal accolades. At times, it's hard to think clearly with all of the pressure that you are under. And the temptation to hit the easy button is certainly there. We have prayed about this. We hope you have as well. As I opened, we have heard that we cannot make some people happy. I would flip that around, but I can make myself happy. But that takes me back to the learning passage. Why are we here? We credit the team for attempting to make changes, and including all of us that showed up here to debate tonight. Again, it is the skepticism of what we are not being told that frightens all of us. No one wants law enforcement not to be capable to protect and serve. In wrapping up, there's a few things I want to throw out there. One is our engineer certified in noise reduction and shooting range development? I get he's an engineer. I don't know his credentials, not questioning it. I'm hoping we'll hear. Sounds like we went from 2 ranges to 3 shooting lanes. Now there might be 3 in that little area. Just some of the technicalities that kind of caused me to pause. The sound. The sound is something that if you're not a shooter and you haven't studied if you haven't studied it, you know, the sound waves are what carries the noise, obviously, right? And when you divert the sound waves at closest to the muzzle or the end of the muzzle, you can affect the long-term travel of that sound. That's a fact. And there are ways to do that. So in wrapping up, there's a couple things I want to say about what we haven't heard. First, we haven't heard that it's only going to be used for our Adams County Sheriff's team. With respect to the community, limiting hours. No one wants to hear shooting after a long day of work or on weekends. One of our BZA members has said, how about between 9 and 2:30 on weekends, as an example? I like this guy. He offers reasonable solutions. Next, no personal weapons, no outside trainers other than training for the sheriff team. Never make it for public use. Vegetation only works when it grows tall enough to make a difference, and even then, there are times where it's not viable. Future changes of any sort will be discussed and not rubber stamped. So with that, I want to take an opportunity. I want to use my phone. Not that one. And I want to pull out what is before I do this, this is an electronic drumstick. I don't want anybody to think it's anything other. Electronic drumstick. And I want to turn it on because I think it's important to hear what the sound of decibels through my phone and meter sound like. So you can hear this. So the range of those decibels that we're talking about is anywhere between 75 and 80 decibels. Now, I'm sure all of you who are sitting here can hear that. Those are gunshot simulation. Okay? Maybe not that rapid. Maybe they are. So let's consider a few things. So if the building is not the driver any longer, and it is a money pit, then and they suggest that the noise levels are more than just a nuisance, as I've tried to demonstrate, then we suggest please end the project. We've been through enough. The sheriff has made plenty of attempts to try to persuade otherwise. We're appealing at the heart of those on the board to make a decision to put this behind us. I think the past year has spoke eloquently about what a lot of us feel here and may or may not be comfortable standing in front of the microphone saying, this is just not the right time. It is not the right location. There are other resources. We just need to make a constant effort to find it. Thank you.
Thanks. Good evening. I'm Missy Burkhalter. My address is 1740 Fairway Drive, Decatur. So I'm not adjacent to this property. However, my sister, Nicole Johnson, your address. Nicole Johnson, 6215 Bittersweet Lakes Run, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46814. We are siblings of our parents, who we are now power of attorneys for and all of their real estate. We were very excited once we learned that the regional sewer district would be coming out to Arcadia Village. My dad developed that subdivision many, many years ago, prior to me even being born. And with the restrictions of the health department, the platted subdivision initially was, the lots were too small to support a septic system. So once this regional sewer came through, we were thrilled. And I'm a real estate broker for 39 years now. And I started to, our mother asked us to sell the property and to develop it, which of course I immediately started in, and we've been working on this for months and months. Because of this, we've had some deterrent. We had a lot of activity and a lot of excitement, and now it's come to complete stall. Builders, lenders, developers that we've talked to are worried. Now, if we're going to invest this kind of money, in spec homes and so forth, what are we going to end up with? We can't not share. Any realtor in business, Brad included. What comes around goes around, especially in a small community. You got to be honest, integrity, character. It all says the world, especially in a small community. I'm not going to not share with a potential buyer that we have this potential problem. I'm just not going to do it. Therefore, all of this land, 27 lots that could be developed, that we were pursuing to develop.
An entire subdivision back.
Yeah. We grew up in the back of the woods, and it was undeveloped except for our aunts that lived adjacent. And it's just devastating to us that, at one time, this has nothing to do with anything in this environment, but the health department, years ago changed their guidelines, which then prohibited my dad from finishing the subdivision. So he now has dementia, and I'm not trying to expand upon that or make any of you feel sorry for us, but he still knows us, and he was excited about this. And, we were in business 38 years together. And I'm sorry I'm going to get emotional, but he was so tickled for me to share with him that this is going to come to fruition, Dad. I'm going to do this for you. And now, everybody's scared.
And that doesn't even include the 16 acres.
No, there's an adjacent 16 acres.
That connects to the end, the corner.
Yeah.
That we can sell to anybody. I'm sure there's lots of Amish families that would love to purchase that land.
Yeah.
Anybody would love to purchase that land. It's a great location, close to town, close to everything.
And we grew up there, so we can legitimately share that, it's a wonderful neighborhood. It's a wonderful place to raise a family. Families are not going to want to consider this location. I wouldn't. If it were me and my kids
out there,
or my children wanting to buy a lot from Grandpa, I would have to say, I would rather, my own son, 3 lots that are at the back of where we grew up, the house burnt down. My own son has been wanting to buy those forever from Grandma and Grandpa. And he's in a position now that he can, but he's hesitant, He's got a little boy. He doesn't know what, the horizon looks like. None of us do. So I appreciate your time, and Sheriff, we all appreciate your efforts and your duty and your commitment to our community. And I don't ever want anybody to think that I'm discounting that in any way. It's just that I agree with everybody that spoke. I don't feel the best location and the best option for a shooting range, though I agree that training is very important and necessary.
it's just too close to people, an entire community, an entire neighborhood, and then additional 27 lots and 16 more acres that are supposed to be developed. That she's been working on getting developers and builders and lenders, and now it's all been put
to a halt. So we definitely oppose the shooting range in this location.
Thank you all for your consideration and time. And again, thank you, Sheriff, for all that you do for our community.
Anyone else like to speak?
I'll be really short because my husband already spoke. But I'm Shannon Hill. I'm the pastor's wife of Faith Chapel at 3928 North Salem Road. And I can agree that if this was any other situation, I would be in your amen corner. Like, I love law enforcement, but we have children that are out there all the time. And Sunday school teachers, we run a really tight Sunday school. And I can tell you, it can be in the middle of the night that our teachers are doing their like quarterly decoration change. It can be first thing in the morning. It can be through the whole day, because we'll take, so many days or a week, and we do complete overhaul changes. There's kids there all the time. There's people catfishing in our pond. There's people fishing early morning and the midday in our pond. And I'm pro all of that, but not at the cost of a life, a possibility of a life, an innocent life. If an accidental discharge goes up, I know the force in which it comes down. If it hits the right place, we're going to lose a life. There is that possibility. And to me, it's not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk when we could put a little bit more money into something and have a full enclosed building. Yes, it would be more work, but it could save a child's life. So thank you for your time.
Anyone else? Rebuttal?
Just a couple quick things. There is no place in this county that an outdoor range will not affect somebody, because we don't have the 3 to 5 miles of open space. We have houses, we have something. So I'm just stating that fact. There's no place in this county. Houses do sell around ranges. You guys are familiar with Lakeshore Edition in Decatur. It butts up to a range. And houses sell and are bought all the time there. So I just want to address that point. The point of that we're hiding something, I'm a little offended by. I hosted a meeting at the jail. Anybody can ask me questions. I've answered every question to the best of my ability. I am not hiding anything. The statements as far as having trainers come in, yes. I want my police officers to be the best trained they can be. And I'm sorry, I would like to say I have the best trainers, but I don't. There's other trainers that are better in this country that would love to come in and train our people. So yes, there will be outside people coming into this training. I have no problem with hours. None whatsoever. I've said that before, except for our low light shooting that we do in December, that we usually shoot from about 4 to 7. And that's usually 2 days. Other than that, I have no problem shooting between 9 and 4, 9 and 3, doesn't matter. That should not be an issue. But I have to be able to train our people with my people in the county, where I'm responsible for everything on that range. Because nowadays with liability and suing and everything else, we could go to Blue Creek. They've had multiple rounds go outside their ranges already in the past. I want to be responsible for my property. The buck stops here. That's what is important to me. Again, nowhere in this county can I put an outdoor range that it will not affect somebody. So going over to the old trash dumper, there's people that live over there. And I've heard people that are in this room say, as long as it's not by my house. I can't think that way, because I can't go anywhere where it doesn't affect somebody. But the county owning the land, the building that is already existing, yes, it needs some work. This is the best choice, in my opinion, for me to train and keep our police the best that we can. And I understand it will not make everybody happy. We understand, but this topic will never make everybody happy. It's impossible. So that's my thought.
One of my biggest concerns is since we've last talked about this, is the county regional sewer that's going up there, which makes it endless for homes, which increases the possibility of another house getting shot or a house getting shot.
But all those homes right there, they build a home there, he can put a 2-foot pile of dirt there and shoot, and nobody can stop that. So I don't have a lot of weight to that argument. I mean, anybody can shoot out in the county.
I see both sides.
I do too, but again, if that's your thought, then it's clear that there will never be an outdoor range in this community, ever.
And that's where I strongly feel there needs to be one in the county to support officers 100%. Me personally, I'd love to see either money go into Blue Creek, Decatur, Burn, everybody use the same thing, pool the money and do a good shooting range. Keep the gunfire in one area.
But what about those residents who live by Blue Creek? Is that fair to them?
At least it would be consolidated.
Yeah, I bet those residents would differ with that opinion.
Any difference in what it is right here.
And that's,
If you
I mean,
improve
I
that
understand both sides.
I think the argument there would be that it exists.
Yeah.
It's not new. I think would be the.
But Burns exists, Decatur exists, and they're not gonna give that up to go someplace else. I mean, it is what it is. You guys have all the facts. This is our third meeting. We're just beating a dead horse here, guys. Let's do the finding of fact and let's move on. Because their reason's not changing, mine's not changing. It's in your hands. And I hate to put it, but it's not simple, but that's where we are at. Unless you have more questions, I'll answer everything we can.
Really not an easy decision.
Like they said, they don't envy your job. I don't either. They're doing what's best for them. I'm doing what I believe is best for the agency long-term too. And it's your job to referee.
And I think we've attempted to, based off of what information I could gather and put together for this, is probably whatever was the most. We went to the extreme as far as certain elevations and accommodations within that. And talking with the sheriff, we're not sure what that number ought to be. Is it 14 foot, 18 foot, 25, 100? And what's the magic number that puts people's minds at ease? I know we've talked a lot about life and the value of life, and I think we all understand that, and we would all be heartbroken from the tragedy. And certainly, from my standpoint, and I know from the sheriff's, our heart goes out to anybody who would be a victim of a negligent discharge or a loss of a child's life. But certainly, those emotional pleas, that doesn't stop the circumstances right now that everybody lives with. Is that you can go on Salem Road and set up a shooting range off your back porch without any accommodations, without that, and that still puts that liability on someone being a bad neighbor. And certainly, from what I've attempted to do with my participation in this and what the sheriff has done, is to certainly approach that attempt to be a good neighbor with a development plan that was smart, thoughtful, attempting to meet those needs. And if that falls short in the eyes of those, then so be that. I don't know that there would be something that we could necessarily put together that would satisfy the public.
Any other questions? Finding of facts. Approval will or will not be essential or desirable to the public convenience or welfare because.
I believe that it will. As the sheriff has provided information that, not all these ranges are available for easily accessible. The remote Fort Wayne thing makes absolutely no sense to me in today's world. I don't want half, 3/4 of the sheriff's department an hour and a half away should we have a crisis situation here. I believe he's provided all the evidence needed that it is a true asset to this community.
All agree?
I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna say it's not essential because there's other areas in the county that currently do shooting, and I think that those sites are usable.
I agree.
Question number 2. The applicant did or did not establish that the refusal of this contingent use will constitute an undue hardship on the applicant because.
I hate to say it, but I would say did not, in the respect that you have a location.
All agree?
Agree.
I disagree.
Question number 3, the petitioner has or has not established that the contingent use is not in conflict with the Adams County Comprehensive Plan.
He has, because there's nothing in the plan that states any of this.
All agree?
Agree.
Question number 4, the proposed use will or will not be detrimental to the surrounding area because.
I believe it will, because eventually it's gonna be built up with homes due to the county sewer district going in.
Agree?
Agree.
Question number 5, if granted, the board prescribes the following conditions.
I think if there was a motion to approve, you could talk about conditions. I mean, it's always nice that we talk about it at the end, but it's not really a part of the findings.
We're in the same situation we were the last.
Well, we need somebody to make a motion and have a vote on it. We have to do the formalities.
I make a motion to deny.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I deny.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate that. Your understanding of your.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
Any new or old business?
Not adjourned yet. It's on the meeting.
Any new or old business?
I do have one question for the house west of town that's still standing.
I have an answer for that. She sued Mark and lost, and made an appeal to the Indiana Court of Appeals on that.
Okay.
And the Indiana Court of Appeals, got tired of waiting and said, look, if you don't submit a brief in 30 days and you don't pay your appeal fees in 10 days, or submit a petition that says you're indigent, you know, we're gonna dismiss this. Well, those deadlines passed and nothing had dismissed. So we filed a motion to dismiss on the fact that she did not do what the Court of Appeals asked her to do. And I checked this morning, we don't have a decision from the Court of Appeals on that yet, but we should very shortly. And when we're there, we'll go ahead and fulfill the order to demolish the house. Mark's got the necessary infrastructure lined up. And look, it's a situation where there's probably 1/10 of a, if we would have gone ahead, we would have been within our rights because she didn't ask for a stay. But there was 0.1% of a possibility that if they tear the house down, she files some brief or finds some public advocacy law firm to start creating a stink about it. And Mark Burry and I talked about it, and the way to avoid any possible liability coming back to the county for doing what's right, we need to avoid it. So that's why we're taking this time.
That's fine. I drove past it today.
Wanted, tried to go out there multiple times. Luganville's called, wanted to go. He was gonna do it in 1 day. It doesn't.
Currency fishing.
He's planning on getting after it because he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, he doesn't want to leave the equipment there.
He doesn't want to get shot.
And I want to apologize to the board. I don't like to nitpick about procedure. I think it's nice that we have conversations, but I'm always concerned about somebody filing a petition for judicial review of one of your decisions. And that could happen when you have controversial things. And so I'm really concerned about getting a good record that questions are addressed to the board. It's wonky. It's not like having a conversation. It's not nice to behave that way, but it creates a better record and would help me defend your decision. So that's why I get all antsy over here about stuff like that. I don't like to step on you running the meeting, Pat, or even make suggestions. I know I frustrate you, but that's what I'm concerned about is an appeal.
You don't frustrate me. I look to you for
We need
legal
guidance.
counsel.
Well, I appreciate
Because
that.
I'm not a legal counsel.
But I feel sometimes
I don't,
the
that
lawyers-
does not offend me.
well, thank you. I just think we're better seen than heard sometimes. So that's just the way, I just wanted to talk about it.
If there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have to?
Did already.
Oh, you did already. No, I slept
You were
right through.
distracted.
You approved it.
You voted for it.
Congratulations, Mr. Chairman.
No way. Not a chance in HE double hockey sticks.